I thought I was the shame of all transmigrators. No abilities, no system, and a weak body. Until that day, I realized I was wrong. To save a little girl, I was dragged into another space. A headless man raised an axe and said he was going to kill me. I threw a punch with all my strength, but all I heard was the sound of my own bones cracking. After being knocked flying, I lay on the ground, with only one thought left in my mind. I have died once before. Dying again is nothing. I pulled out a black crystal, which I had kept for a second awakening, and could burn my life force. But I could not care about that anymore, and stuffed it straight into my mouth. The next second, black lines spread from my eyes, and power surged up like magma. I reached back and grabbed, directly crushing the monster's heart. Ding. System prompt. The strongest system has been activated. SSS Heaven and Tyrant has been bound. At the time I did not know that this decision would completely change my fate. Actually, before that, I had been an ordinary person for a long time. Nanjing City. The sun was high and the streets were crowded with people. I was on the phone with Linyu. She asked why I had not come back yet, and if I had meddled again. I quickly said, how could that be? I am basically an ordinary person now, and I avoid trouble as much as possible. Linyu then asked about the McNuggets. I said I brought them and would be home soon. She urged me to hurry, or else my snacks would be gone. I was wearing black clothes and pants, and carrying a McDonald's takeout bag. After hanging up, I muttered, "Damn Lin, you stealing my snacks." But I knew in my heart, she was just worried about me. This world was not simple. There was the night patrol department, and all kinds of anomalies. My predecessor was originally an awakener, but later encountered a powerful anomaly. The night patrol department arrived in time to save him, but the original had already died. And inside this body was me from another world. I was a transmigrator, but the severe injuries had erased my abilities. The after effects left me weaker than an ordinary person. Fortunately, the night patrol department had good benefits, so I was transferred to a desk job. With easy work and decent pay, I did not mind living an ordinary life. Only Sister Lin, you still worried that I could not let go. Then a voice caught my attention. A ball rolled into an alley. A little girl stood at the entrance hesitant. I smiled and called out, "Kid, I will get it for you." So I ran into the shady alley, picked up the ball, and handed it to the girl. She smiled and reached out to take it. Suddenly, a deep red crack appeared at the alley entrance. A monstrous hand grabbed at the girl. This familiar aura was a void ruin. My pupils contracted as I shouted, "Watch out," and instinctively pushed her away. The monstrous hand grabbed my shoulder and dragged me into the deep red crack. The crack flickered a few times and disappeared. The little girl burst into tears. The surrounding pedestrians gathered and called the police. Then I was thrown hard to the ground and coughed while clutching my stomach. Looking up, the environment was the same as the alley, but the deep red barrier and black mist told me this was not the real world. I had been dragged into a void ruin. At that thought, cold sweat ran down my back. I was just a logistics worker for the night patrol department and had just gotten off work. How did I end up in a void ruin again? Too impulsive. With my current body, I could not handle anomalies. 5 meters away stood a headless man, covered in blood with spikes on his arms, and holding an axe. His neck had been cut cleanly, and blood kept seeping from the wound. The axe also kept dripping blood. A voice suddenly sounded. "You do not taste good. You let my prey go, you deserve to die." My expression darkened and killing intent flashed in my eye. I needed to strike first for a chance to survive. So I suddenly charged forward. The headless man swung his axe horizontally. The blade grazed my scalp. I ducked and threw a punch at his stomach. The corner of my mouth lifted slightly. The familiar feeling of combat was back. The next second, a bone-cracking sound came from my fist. My smile froze. With my current physique, I could not break his defense. Then the headless man slapped me flying. I lay on the ground, my chest heaving, and a bitter smile appeared at the corner of my mouth. Whether in my past life or after transmigration, I really could not do anything right. But this time I struggled to lift my eyelids, looked at the sky and laughed. It is just death. I have died before. Then I got up, pulled a black crystal from my pocket, and shoved it into my mouth. My eyes turned pitch black, and black lines spread from my pupils across my body. The awakening crystal was something I had asked Linyu to get. Planned to use it for a second awakening after recovering. I never expected it to come in handy now. After taking it, it drains my life potential, and burst out all my power in a short time. As the black lines spread, power surged through my body. I grinned and said, "Trash, did you not eat? No strength, come again." The enraged headless man charged at me, raising his axe with both hands and swinging down. I sidestepped the blade as it smashed down beside my nose. I stepped back with my right leg and raised my hand like a claw as black lines gathered on my fingers and drove into the headless man's chest. Black light pierced through and I pulled back, revealing a black heart in my hand. I squeezed gently, and black blood mixed with flesh splattered. The headless man's whole body trembled. then collapsed weakly into rotten flesh. I let out a light breath, feeling my power fade quickly, and my life draining away with it. A smile appeared at the corner of my mouth. Just then a notification sounded in my mind. Ding. Conditions met. Body repair complete. The strongest system has been active. Aided. Opening novice gift pack. Rewards special character card. Character card unlocking. Progress from 1 to 100. Character card Heaven and Tyrant Toji Fushiguro. I stood frozen in place. My system is here. The novice gift pack is Heaven and Tyrant. Is that the ultimate physical arts from memory? Before I could fully react, a card appeared out of thin air, with ornate incantations on the back, and that man on the front. His eyes held contempt for the world, with a mocking smile at his lips. Cold, powerful, and untamed. I reached out and touched the card. A blinding golden light shone, and the card merged into my body. A surging power spread through my body, and my body was instantly transformed into a perfect physical form. Since I had no abilities, I would abandon mental power and let the world see the ultimate physical form. My originally loose t-shirt instantly tightened into a black fitted t-shirt. A strong and sturdy body displayed power. After the golden light faded, a panel appeared before me. The talent info bar was surrounded by a golden ring. I tapped it and saw special title Heaven and Tyrant. Special talent Heaven and curse binding body, completely erasing mental power. In exchange for a powerful body and extreme physical ability. Description: 5 senses reaction speed greatly enhanced. Surpassing human limits. Obtains super strong mysterious resistance. And the tyrant's own limit breaking. Ignoring any limits and bottlenecks. The path to becoming stronger is endless. I could not help but laugh. What does that mean, endless leveling? Does that mean one day I could become a god? No. To surpass God. A strange light appeared in my eyes. My heart beat faster, and I was full of anticipation for the future. But first, calm down. That was for the late game. How strong am I now? That man's Heaven and Tyrant should not be weak in this world. I looked at the panel again, and there was even a stat section. Awa. Kenners were divided by mental power. Micro, glimmer, candle, mountain, sea. Micro like the faint light of night. Glimmer like floating fireflies. Candle like a rising flame. Mountain was the threshold for a qualitative change in strength. With mental power like a towering mountain. Sea was hard to find an equal opponent. With mental power like a vast ocean. Before my predecessor was injured, his mental power was at micro. Now because of Heaven and curse binding, I had abandoned mental power. So the system gave me a stats section. I opened the stat info. Name Sumo. Title Heaven and Tyrant. Level 1 Strength 99, Constitution 99, Agility 99, Will 99. I stood frozen in place. Was this the base stats for level 1? All stats reached 99. Even games from my past life were not this ridiculous. With these exaggerated numbers, I was no longer sure. Am I strong or weak now? Just then the system sent another pop-up. Growth mission reach level 5. Reward. 1 Tyrant exclusive draw. Ding. TR. Igard Novice first mission critical hit. Mission reward changed. 2 Tyrant exclusive draws. I can draw at level 5. Tyrant exclusive draw, sounds strong. And a novice bonus triggered. The reward doubled. The system is generous enough. Surprise showed in my eyes. Where should I look for anomalies? As I thought, the surroundings flickered. The barrier and black mist disappeared. I returned to the real world's alley. My 5 senses flooded in from all directions. At the alley entrance, several officers had sealed the area. Seeing me appear out of thin air, they immediately surrounded me. After confirming I was human, they breathed a sigh of relief. A middle-aged officer stepped forward and asked how I got out. Someone reported you were caught in an abnormal incident. Please come back with us. I shook my head and said no need. I am from the night patrol department. Then I took out my ID. The middle-aged officer paused, then quickly reacted, and saluted me solemnly. He handed me my phone and McDonald's bag. These are your things. I smiled and thanked him. He looked at the others and said loudly, withdraw. Watching their backs, I also left. After walking a short distance, my phone rang. I picked it up and saw it was Sister Lin Yu calling. I answered. She said someone had gone missing deep in the wetland park, and a grudge level void ruin was suspected. Since it was a public place, the higher-ups asked her to check it out and told me not to wait for her. Wetland Park. The corner of my mouth twitched. I looked up and saw a large sign reading Wetland Park. Was this not too coincidental? Today my luck was just like this everywhere. Is there a problem or not? A grudge level void ruin appearing in a public place. My expression turned serious. A grudge level void ruin meant there was a grudge level anomaly. Anomaly levels corresponded to awakeners. Micro corresponded to ghost. Glimmer corresponded to grudge. Candle corresponded to evil. Mao. Tane corresponded to fierce. C corresponded to blood. So at least a glimmer level awakener was needed to have a chance to resolve this void ruin. If a level up opportunity came knocking, I wanted to try it. To see how strong I am now. Hey, AMO, are you listening? I snapped back and said into the phone. Linyu, I am nearby. Let me take a look first. No way a logistics guy like you take a look. The phone suddenly died and shut off automatically. I smiled slightly. It was not me who hung up, so no one could blame me. I put away my phone and walked toward the wetland park. Deep in the wetland park, a barrier line was drawn, and several people in maintenance uniforms moved around. I could tell at a glance they were night patrol department agents in disguise. Seeing someone approach, one of them quickly said this area was under maintenance and I could not enter. I smiled and took out my ID saying I was on a mission. They nodded slightly and made way. I quickly walked in and breathed a sigh of relief. Luckily, they did not check carefully and missed the word logistics on the ID. The trees deeper in the park grew taller, with dense branches blocking the sky, though some sunlight filtered through. The deeper I went, the colder I felt, and an ominous aura hit me. Deep in the wetland park, I stopped. This ominous aura was unmistakably here. I was also a little surprised. Without mental power, I could still clearly sense the boundary. Was it because of the will stat? It seemed will was stronger than I had imagined. I did not see the entrance crack, and outside were night patrol agents watching. It seemed many had already gone in, and the temporary void ruin crack had closed automatically. I suddenly had a bold idea. Normal awakeners needed to use mental power to chant a spell to open an entrance, unless their mental power was strong, or they had awakened an A rank or higher ability. Could they do it without a spell? My intuition told me I was stronger than those guys. Time to act. I reached out my right hand and grabbed at the air in front of me. The invisible space wrinkled. My fingers felt a strange sensation. I had grabbed something and applied a little pressure with my 5 fingers. An irregular small circle appeared around my right hand. The outer edge faintly glowed red. I then spread my palm wide, and the outer edge expanded instantly, forming a large circle over 2 meters in diameter. A bit fierce. I looked at my hand in surprise, then focused my gaze into the circle. Inside was a dark corridor. I grinned. The hunt begins. I stepped directly into it, and the circular passage behind me shrank and disappeared. Once inside, what greeted me was a corridor with no end in sight. Rooms lined both sides, and the air was filled with the smell of mildew and rot. Because of my arrival, 2 sensor lights lit up in front of me one after another, but only 3 meters ahead were illuminated. A sign hung from the ceiling, swaying and reading "Happy Home Apartment Welcome." Beyond 3 meters and behind me, all was pitch black. I murmured softly. I seem to have heard of this. The wetland park was originally supposed to have an old apartment building. Then I clicked my tongue. An apartment that cannot even afford lights has no right to welcome me. I am definitely not staying here. The corridor floor was covered in dust, with many footprints. It was true, many people had come in. A cold, damp feeling enveloped me. I frowned slightly and looked deeper into the corridor. I sensed dozens of energy fluctuations and scattered evil auras in the distance. They should be colleagues fighting with anomalies. Wait, at the very end there was another, more massive evil aura, very calm, as if sleeping. This feeling was the Ruin Master anomaly. It was its power that created this void ruin. In game terms, it was the final boss. I was slightly surprised. As soon as I entered the void ruin, I sensed the Ruin Master's aura and location. Was this the powerful perception brought by 99 will? Thinking of this, I felt much better. And even this rundown apartment corridor looked more pleasing to the eye. By the way, this is my first time here, so I should say hello. That guy not far away must be getting impatient. As I walked forward, I looked at the room not far away. When I got closer, the door had somehow opened on its own. The corridor, or emergency lights, were swallowed by darkness. I looked up at the door plate beside me. Room 404. Opening on its own. I looked down at the footprints on the ground. When the other awakeners rushed past, he did not dare to open the door. But when I came, the door opened. He saw I had no mental power fluctuations, and thought I was an easy target. Hey, bullying the weak. Picking on me. The light inside lit up, and an old man with a cane suddenly appeared at the door. His face was covered in age spots and wrinkled skin, emitting a strong stench of decay and rot, like a corpse just crawled out of a grave. Then I will not hold back. I smiled shyly and walked into the room. I looked around. The room was simply decorated, and in the corner of the living room stood an old man's gray photo. It was a funeral portrait, with incense burning beside it. Worshipping yourself, that is unconventional. The old man behind me saw me come in, and happily closed the door. A wide exaggerated smile spread across his face, his mouth nearly splitting to his ears. His eyes slightly reddened with greed. He said, "Sit down, I will get you some water." A hoarse voice sounded behind me. When I turned to look, the old man had disappeared. I shrugged indifferently, walked over, and sat down comfortably, leaning back on the sofa. It felt quite comfortable, and I grew a little drowsy. The dim yellow light flickered. The anomaly old man had quietly climbed onto the ceiling right above my head, with pale skin and a gaping mouth, and broken teeth silently roaring. He suddenly bit down at my head, but there was no sound of teeth closing, or a head breaking. I kept my back to him and raised my right hand over my head, holding a steel pipe, slightly bent and just propping open the anomaly old man's mouth. I had picked up the steel pipe at the door. The old man's body twisted, and his huge mouth clamped down. The steel pipe slowly began to deform. I looked up at him, and smiled teasingly. "Oh, old man playing hide and seek. Next time do not hide on the ceiling. It is too dangerous." With that I applied a little pressure with my right hand, and with the steel pipe I slammed the old man hard onto the coffee table in front. Boom, the coffee table shattered. The old man's neck twisted, and he lay on the ground in a strange pose. Bang bang bang. The bent steel pipe, under the violent impact, had pierced through his chin. I stood up and cracked my neck, with a slight sound of joints. Looking down at the anomaly, my eyes cold and emotionless, the corner of my mouth lifted into a contemptuous smile. I mocked him trash, afraid to face a mental powerless ordinary person head-on. Too old and still playing tricks. The old man seemed hit where it hurt, his eyes reddening as he reached out with claws, trying to tear off a piece of my flesh. But I did not give him the chance. I kept my hands in my pockets and raised my foot, and stomped directly on his head. Boom, a sound like a smashed watermelon. Black blood splattered. Just then a system notification sounded in my mind. Ding. You successfully killed an ordinary ghost-level anomaly. LV7 Corpse Old Man. Gained experience. Level up. Hearing the level up notification, I nodded with satisfaction. Killing monsters really gave experience. I needed to reach level 5 quickly. I wondered what reward the system would give me. As I thought, I glanced at the mess on the ground. I seemed to have used too much force. I hope the downstairs neighbors do not complain. The deep footprints on the living room floor and spreading spiderweb cracks looked especially conspicuous. I looked around. Time to go out. Boom. The originally indestructible door was kicked flying by me casually, and I walked out. Small monsters are boring. The big one deeper in should let me reach level 5. A dangerous light flickered in my eyes. In the corridor, I looked deeper with anticipation. The corridor had countless branches. I sensed the direction, stepped forward with my left foot and leaned in, bent my knee slightly and pushed off. In an instant, my immense strength and agility created a terrifying reaction force, and I shot forward like an arrow. The wind howled in my ears. I felt my body light. Refreshing. My powerful body felt no fatigue. Excitement filled my eyes. I could go even faster. With another push, I shot forward even faster. Along the way, I even saw several awakeners. As I sped past them, they were all startled. They had their own means of illumination, but the Void Ruins environment rules still prevented them from seeing beyond 4 meters. They had been moving carefully, feeling their way through the Void Ruin, afraid an anomaly would jump out of the darkness. When I passed at that speed, they were quite frightened, thinking it was some anomaly ambushing them. By the time they sensed my presence, I was already out of sight. So they all cursed behind my back. Some called me a lucky bastard. Some shouted not to let me find them. Some guessed it was a hotshot from another district. Some spat it was just speed ability. I am not afraid. Rushing that fast in a Void Ruin is suicide. Ignore him, he will regret it soon. Only a few noticed that my speed was not only fast, but I never slowed down, showing my perception was strong enough. It was likely a glimmer level or above. Powerful awakener making a move. Though they cursed verbally, they all quickened their pace, because there was only one Ruin Master. Whoever killed it could resolve this grudge level Void Ruin and receive generous rewards. On my end, I was still moving at high speed, constantly weaving through the corridor. I also heard the curses of those awakeners. I did not care at all. I was still immersed in my powerful body. Strength gave me attack and burst. Constitution gave me defense and endurance. Agility gave me speed and reaction. Only W. Ill was the most mysterious. So far I only found it gave super strong perception. Now in this grudge level Void Ruin, I felt like I had a full map radar, moving freely. Apart from the old man at the start, I had not encountered any other anomalies. Not because there were few, but because those ahead had already cleared them. I did not care about low-level anomalies, and rushed toward the Ruin Master's location. That was my goal. After another turn at a fork in the corridor, a room on the right had its lights on. Oh, another missed anomaly. I did not want to waste time, but a cry for help came out. The voice sounded familiar. I slammed on the brakes and left a trench on the floor. Looking at the closed door, I kicked it open without hesitation. Don't ask, I am just used to it. But the imagined door shattering did not happen. Just as I was about to touch it, a white light appeared on the door, trying to pull me in. I frowned slightly and did not resist, and entered the room. the scene inside was completely different. I was taken to an ancient funeral parlor. In the dim space, rows of coffins lined up, with peeling black paint covered in dust. Most of the coffin lids were already open, leaving only the largest one in the center. A luxurious coffin. As I looked around, I caught sight of a young man collapsed in the corner, covered in wounds, with scattered dried corpse limbs around him. Clearly, after a fierce battle, he was severely injured and exhausted. When I looked over, the young man heard the noise and struggled to look up. I was stunned. "Chunhao," he shouted. "Sumo." We both called out each other's names at the same time. This young man was actually my former classmate. We had taken the martial exam together and entered the night patrol department at the same time, becoming apprentice night guards. But we never had much interaction. I heard he awakened a B-rank talent, and barring any accidents he would be promoted in a few years. I did not expect him to be here too. Suddenly a few dull thuds drew my attention. I looked at the center coffin, the large luxurious one. The lid was slowly sliding open, and a cyan black hand reached out from the gap, gripping the edge. A violent cold aura enveloped the space. Chunhao felt his scalp tingle, his face changing drastically with fear. He shouted at me, "Sumo, help me quickly. Just stuff me in any empty coffin. The anomaly in the center coffin is a zombie king. We will die, hurry. You are just logistics, do not hesitate. We can hide together. As long as we wait for someone else to kill the ruin master, and the void ruin dissolves, we will be saved." At the same time, the cold aura spread, and frost formed on the walls and floor. The door was covered in thick ice. My instinct told me, this ice door could not stop me. But this anomaly also sealed the door. It had some intelligence. I glanced again at the dried limbs on the ground. Nothing special. The one in the big coffin had small monsters guarding it. So it was probably a stronger anomaly in this void ruin. Likely grudge level. Chunhao saw me still looking around, with no intention of helping him. His face flushed with anxiety. He shouted, "Sumo, what are you spacing out for? Quick, hide me. We were classmates, are you not going to help?" Chunhao shouted desperately, his injured body trembling, not just from the pain of his wounds, but also from the fear of death. I did not speak and only looked at him calmly, and walked over. Hope appeared in Chunhao's eyes. Thinking I finally knew what to do, I came over and scanned his injuries, and shook my head calmly. "No, it is better if you do not move. A grudge-level anomaly is not stupid. It would be a waste of effort. I would not bother. Better to deal with it myself." Chunhao's face instantly froze. "What do you mean?" I turned to look the other way. By then the figure in the luxurious coffin had already sat up, raw, head in tattered clothes, with swollen rotting skin, bulging grayish lifeless eyes, and two fangs emitting cold air. It just sat there quietly, tilting its head with interest, watching the two of us. Seeing this, Chunhao let out a shrill scream. "Ah, Sumo, you idiot. It's over, we are all going to die." Chunhao kept wailing beside me. I glanced at him and said coldly, "Shut up." Chunhao paused, looking at my cold eyes. His intuition told him this logistics guy was even more terrifying, so he obediently shut his mouth. I looked again at the big coffin, with excitement in my eyes. I raised my left fist and extended it, then gave a middle finger. I calmly said, "Trash, come here." The zombie king realized I was provoking it, and let out a roar. The coffin lid flew off instantly. The zombie king jumped out, with grayish pupils flickering with cruelty. It wanted to taste human fear. It hopped slowly toward us, like the echo of a death knell. The pressure made Chunhao breathe rapid. "Oh, what?" I raised an eyebrow. Why was this zombie king dragging its feet? I glanced at the coffin lid by my foot, stomped and lifted it into the air, then delivered a powerful kick. The coffin lid spun like a fan, and shot forward. Before the zombie king could react, it was smacked in the head, and shattered into pieces. Chunhao saw this up close, and his whole body went stiff. His eyes widened, and his mouth rounded, like he had seen a ghost at midnight. "It's over, completely over. No chance of a whole body." The zombie king looked down at the wood pieces, and finally realized it had been humiliated. Its resentment surged, and its gray eyes turned pitch black with rage. It extended both arms, with pitch black nails gleaming, then leaped forward. It wanted to take my head. I smiled contemptuously, and charged forward to meet it. Chunhao was in despair, a logistics guy with no weapon, clenching his fist and charging in. We are both dead for sure, but he was unwilling. He had finally awakened a B-rank talent, and would become a night guard. How could he die here silently? Forget it, just end. Just as he was about to close his eyes, something unexpected happened. The zombie king's arms suddenly extended, like two spears thrusting forward. Boom. Two craters appeared on the ground, and debris flew everywhere. I narrowly sidestepped, dodging the zombie king's thrust, and moved to its side. Chunhao watched with a tense heart. After dodging in the battlefield, my bright eyes appeared, filled with excitement and heat. Before the zombie king could react, I stepped forward with my left foot, and quickly pulled back my right fist. Under the infusion of immense power, my arm instantly swelled, and eins bulged. The terrifying force was compressed, and then released with a punch. The fist wind howled with a boom. The moment the fist hit its target, the zombie king's body caved in. Then like a sandbag hit by a truck, it flew backward at high speed, breaking through the ice door and hitting the wall. Its head exploded instantly, dying without hesitation. Its body embedded in the wall, with its chest and abdomen completely collapsed, leaving only a layer of cyan black skin. Chunhao's eyes were numb, his face pale, his teeth chattering uncontrollably. His mind had stopped. As he stared blankly at my back, I let out a light breath and looked at my right hand, with a smile on my face. Not bad, finally some impact. Great. Just then the system notification sounded. Ding. You successfully killed LV-21 grudge level anomaly. Zombie King. Gained experience. Level up. 2 consecutive levels. I reached level 4. Indeed, leveling up at low levels was fast and satisfying. The system labeled anomalies. The level 7 corpse old man was ghost level. The system division should be levels 1 to 19 ghost level, levels 20 to 29 grudge level. So I at level 4 was equivalent to a micro-level awakener, and I one-shot a level 21 anomaly at level 2. No matter how you looked at it, it was ridiculous. It seemed the Heaven and Tyrant stats were truly explosive. Micro and Glimmer level awakeners would not be a match for me. Heaven and Tyrant is invincible. I noticed the attribute panel flickering and opened the stat info. A pop-up appeared. Currently available free attribute points 24. Please use them promptly to strengthen. After level 10, the system will enhance the limit breaking mechanism. Then I looked at my current stats. Name Sumo. Title Heaven and Tyrant. Level 4. Strength 105, Constitution 105. Agility 105, Will 105. Each level gives 16 attribute points. 8 are automatically allocated, and 8 can be freely allocated. But what was that limit breaking mechanism after level 10? Would it give me more attribute points? I stopped overthinking and pulled my thoughts back, giving a command in my mind. System, start allocating points. Please allocate points. I had just killed the zombie king with one punch and tasted the sweetness. I remembered a phrase. One force breaks all techniques. As long as strength was high enough, there was nothing one punch could not solve. If not, then another punch. So I grinned slightly and put all my free points into strength. Ding. Strength attribute, starting allocation. Strength 105 to 129. At the same time, a warm current appeared in my body and was quickly absorbed. Every cell in my body was strengthened. I could feel the power increase. Then a trembling voice came from behind. Sumo, are you really Sumo? I turned to look at Chunhao. How did you become? Now he was a little reserved. Clearly what just happened. Not only had I punched the zombie king to death, I had also shattered his understanding. He even wondered if he was dreaming. But I had no intention of explaining. My rescue was just a coincidence. I heard a familiar voice and was curious. So I came in to check and threw a punch at the anomaly. My destination was not far. The Ruin Master was still waiting for me. No time to waste. I turned and waved. In a hurry, hide yourself. The Void Ruin will be gone soon. With that, I pushed off again and shot forward, quickly disappearing into the darkness. Chunhao smiled bitterly and slowly closed his eyes, looking somewhat dejected. In his memory, I was a logistics guy, a failure who had lost his abilities. But it was precisely this kind of failure, who now with just one punch, had killed a special rank anomaly. The world changes in such unpredictable ways. He slowly opened his eyes, with a confused look. Who would believe this if told? If he had not seen it with his own eyes. He certainly would not. In the dark corridor, I kept moving Tawa. RD my target. The journey was much quieter. Occasionally I could see anomaly corpses, probably killed by the awakeners ahead. The anomalies in the corridor had been cleared. Those people should have arrived long ago, at the Ruin Master's location. But the Void Ruin still showed no sign of dissipating. It seemed they had encountered some problem, preventing the Ruin Master from being killed. So I still had a chance to steal the kill. At the end of the dark corridor, a large glass room appeared, with a sign reading Property Services Management Center. 6 workstations sat in the center, each with a computer and desk. Yellow light strips hung around the ceiling, but the light could not illuminate the entire room, instead making it unusually dim and oppressive. Directly opposite the entrance was a 3-meter-tall, huge red-painted wooden door. Its color was exceptionally bright, as if soaked in blood. A small black sign hung above it, reading General Manager's Office. Plural. Why, that was where the Ruin Master was. The red door was tightly shut, with no signs of having been opened. These people had arrived early, yet none had been able to get in. I looked at the few figures standing by the side of the room. At that moment, several people stood by the red door, talking to each other. Various anomaly limbs were scattered at their feet. It seemed the other anomalies had been dealt with, leaving only the general manager's office where the Ruin Master was. I sighed inwardly. I had hoped to kill a few more ordinary anomalies, so I could reach level 5 and gain a new talent for more confidence against the Ruin Master. But these guys did not give me any chance and cleaned everything up. Hearing someone enter, the Awakeners all turned around. There were 5 people, 3 men and 2 women. 2 of them were holding weapons. After I entered, the glass door closed automatically. A middle-aged man smoking a cigarette smiled and said, "Finally someone else." As he arrived, young man making it here safely. Shows good skill. Before I could speak, a woman in high heels and a uniform could not help but snicker. She glanced at me, and sensing no strong mental power, said sarcastically, "Old Sue, that's enough. Drop the good guy act." All the anomalies along the way were cleared. Otherwise, how could he have made it here safely? Old Sue quickly waved his hand, signaling the woman to stop. "Your words are hurtful." Then he smiled and said to me, "Don't mind it, young man. We only did a general sweep. Anyone who can make it here has skill." As he spoke, he offered me a cigarette. I waved and declined. Old Sue smiled and pointed at a wall, where a whiteboard hung, with employee rules written on it. He took a deep drag of his cigarette and slowly said, "The rules are simple. Employees must have 6 people for the computers to turn on. Turning on the computer means starting work. Sitting at a workstation means you must work. You cannot knock on the general manager's door privately. Unless all employees collectively slack off, the manager's door will open." With that, Old Sue threw away his cigarette, clapped his hands, and looked around. "Now that everyone is here, take your seats and turn on the computers. Do not make any other moves. This should be considered slacking off. The door to the manager's office where the Ruin Master is will open. Let us begin." He was the first to sit at a workstation. The others also chose their workstations. I frowned slightly but said nothing, and sat at the last workstation. Boot up. Everyone turned on their computers at the same time. In the dim environment, 6 screens lit up. A sickly green cold light fell on everyone's faces, making it even more eerie. No one made the next move. 30 seconds later, the 3-meter-tall red door slowly opened a crack. A hoarse voice came from inside. "Slacking off during work hours one by one. No one is allowed to leave their workstation. If you do not want to work, then work until you die. This place does not support idlers." I thought the Ruin Master anomaly was a bit funny. The Awakeners also had strange looks on their faces, as if they had encountered a foolish anomaly. The red door slowly opened, and a glaring red light shone through the gap. Everyone raised their hands to shield their eyes. The computer screens at the workstations turned blood red, and chains of blood extended from the screens, wrapping around everyone and locking them to their workstations. Only I sensed something wrong the moment the door opened, and moved away from my workstation. After the red light faded, the door was fully open. The general manager's office was pitch black. A pair of huge blood-red pupils lit up in the darkness. Then a large black hand gripped the door frame. The space shifted and the door frame stretched wider and taller. A massive figure walked out of the darkness. A fat-headed black pig head, with blood-red eyes and a big belly, wearing a black suit and a gold watch. A tangible oppressive force surged forward. Everyone's shoulders felt like they were carrying a mountain, and their backs involuntarily bent. The doorplate changed to Ruin Master Anomaly Capital Demon. All the Awakeners' faces changed drastically. A demon anomaly. How could a demon species appear in a grudge-level void ruin? Gathering 6 people and turning on the computers was a rule trap it had set. Demons are skilled at playing with words and lies. Each soul it devours greatly increases its power. Now it had devoured 6 souls, increasing its strength 6-fold. Everyone's faces turned pale with despair. The capital demon stood there, with blood-red pupils in its pig face showing mockery. A wide grin sneered. "A few more young ones, not bad, not bad. Even with power, you still cannot escape foolishness. Harvest after harvest. As my employees, let me introduce you to your colleagues." It turned sideways and gestured like a gentleman. Behind the red door, the darkness lit up, revealing a mirrored space, with 6 workstations and 6 humans, who were mechanically typing on computers. They had become dried corpses, their souls devoured and blood drained, turning into mindless dried corpse puppets. Everyone now realized the capital demon was no longer an ordinary Ruin Master anomaly. It had already devoured 6 Awakeners. We are not the first team to arrive. Damn it, move my body. Those who were restrained began to struggle. The capital demon raised a finger to its lips, grinned, and said, "Everyone start working." Its hands spread, and from the computer screens, fleshy tentacles extended again, with fine teeth at their ends, piercing into everyone's foreheads to extract their souls. Their bodies uncontrollably typed on the computers. The keyboards and mice sprouted bloody bone spikes. Every letter typed drew blood. The bloody keyboards constantly absorbed blood. This was draining the Awakeners of their life. Blood. Everyone was filled with anger, unwillingness, and fear. In a corner behind them, I calmly watched the capital demon, assessing it in my mind. I had easily dealt with the special rank anomaly earlier, but this ruin master was unexpected. Not only was it a rare demon anomaly, its power had already surged sixfold. My current strength is 129, that should be enough, right? I had no other choice. If I did not act, soon the 5 would have their souls devoured, and the capital demon's power would increase another 5-fold. I had to go all in. I slowly walked forward. Though their bodies were out of control, their 5 senses were not affected, and they could only watch their lives drain away. Then they heard footsteps behind them. I was wearing a black tight t-shirt, and slowly walked past them. Everyone saw I was not restrained and was stunned. It was the last young man to arrive. He was not bound by the demon's rules. Their eyes widened in disbelief. Had he noticed something wrong long ago, and avoided the blood chains early? Was he that good? Their emotions were like a roller coaster. First despair, then shock, then joy. The woman in high heels urgently called out to me. "Little handsome, save us. Help us break the blood chains first, so we can fight together." The others quickly agreed. "Yes, young man, hurry up." Hope appeared in everyone's eyes. After all, this was a ruin master whose power had increased sixfold. Normally, that was the optimal solution. A team effort was needed for any chance, but the young man did not stop, and only glanced at them coldly. Continuing forward, everyone was confused, and saw the young man's aura growing stronger. I smiled with a hint of contempt, and slowly said, "Trash demon. Just a fat pig." The capital demon was not angry, and sneered with a wide grin. The little mouse hiding in the corner came out on its own. "I thought you would try some tricks. Too bad, I was looking forward to it." I expressionlessly continued forward, and calmly said, "Fat pig. Capital demon, do not try to provoke me. Me, fat pig. Capital demon, even if you escaped the workstation, you are destined to be my wage slave here. This is my rule. Me, fat pig." Finally, the capital demon's fat jiggled twice. It forced a smile and gritted its teeth. "3 times is enough, little mouse, you are too ungraceful." I paused and looked up, with my aura reaching its peak. The capital demon's expression froze slightly. I grinned brightly, and gave a middle finger mockingly. "Fat pig, gra. So full grace your mother." The capital demon's face twisted in rage, instantly breaking down. "You filthy, dirty mouse, die." It suddenly opened its huge mouth, and 3 blood chains shot out, speeding toward me. At the same time, a large black hand also slapped down. Boom, the black hand hit the ground, and the impact created a shockwave. The wind swept up the surrounding debris, and countless anomaly corpses flew through the air. I had just dodged the black hand, expression unchanged with short hair flying, my eyes growing brighter. I was starting to get excited. A blood chain stabbed down from the air, like a spear piercing through a body. Just as the chain reached my head, I bent my knees slightly and pushed off. My figure instantly leaped and disappeared. The blood chain hit nothing and pierced the ground. Another chain swept horizontally through the air. My eyes were cold and my mouth smiled. I twisted my core in midair to dodge. At this moment, the 3rd chain had somehow pierced from below. Just as it was about to touch me, I suddenly grinned, my leg veins bulging, and lightly tapped the tip of the chain in midair. My figure, like lightning in a rainstorm, flashed and disappeared. 105 agility, think it's a joke. In speed, I could shout, "Everyone here is trash." Combined with 129 strength, explosive power, it made my movements like teleportation. I appeared above the capital demon's head, looking at that fat pig's head, with only a small ring of sparse hair flying. I clenched my right fist and gathered power, a mocking smile on my face as I shouted, "Ha, I'm here, baldy fat pig." Everyone who had been searching for my figure looked up together. When did he fly up there? Their eyes nearly popped out. The capital demon struggled to look up, and without thinking struck upward in rage. Too bad a fat pig is a fat pig, too slow. My charge was complete, my eyes cold and grinning. "Trash, a big rocket for you." I threw a full power punch at the capital demon's head. Bang, a fierce fist wind with a boom. Crack, came the sound of bones breaking. Boom, black red flesh and white bones flew everywhere. Under one punch, the capital demon's pig head exploded like a watermelon. This was not the end. The fist wind was like a sharp drill, going down from the gap in the skull, piercing through the demon's body. Its ferocious power displayed destruction. Boom, 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 countless chain explosions went off inside the capital demon's body. Its fat body was like a bomb planted inside. Black red flesh chunks flew everywhere, like a downpour splashing down, filling the entire space. Those awakeners were staring with their mouths open, just in time to skip a meal, getting a mouthful of foul-smelling chunks. They belatedly started spitting, but chunks kept falling from the air. The more they opened their mouths, the more they swallowed. Only a few smart ones kept their mouths shut, preferring to eat less than more. The woman in heels ate the most after the rain of flesh ended. With the capital demon's death, the chains and tentacles on the workstations gradually dissipated. The woman in heels fell to her knees and frantically vomited. Another girl could not hold back either. Vomiting was contagious. The others turned away, feeling the bitterness in their mouths with twisted expressions. Only then did I land from the air, looking at my hands with delight and letting out a light breath. I am really very, very strong now. Originally, I had no confidence and could only try my best. Who knew 129 strength was so violent? This was power suppression. The capital demon could not take one punch from me. Of course, the other attributes were also important. High constitution and high agility helped me get close. High will let me perceive weak points. The bald spot was the key to breaking the defense. Whether human or demon, this experience was useful. Just then the familiar system notification sounded. Ding. You sucky. Fully killed grudge level ruin master anomaly. LV28 capital demon gur. Level 28 anomaly, also not enough. A series of notifications continued. Level up. Level up. You have successfully reached level 6. New growth mission unlocked. Growth mission reach level 10. Reward 1 Tyrant exclusive draw. Congratulations host for completing the level 5 growth mission. Obtained 2 Tyrant exclusive draws. Use them now. Here it comes, here it comes. Before the draw even started, the familiar system notification sounded again. Ding. System detected wearable spirit tool. Jer's elegance pickup. System detected anomaly material. Broken bloodchain fragment pickup. Wow spirit tool. Anything involving supernatural power was called a spirit tool. Killing special anomalies could drop materials and spirit tools. Spirit tools could be used and worn directly. Materials could be used to craft spirit tools. Anomalies were full of treasures. The moment I heard the notification, my eyes lit up. System pickup all. Ding. The 2 items instantly disappeared and appeared in the system backpack. Then my smartwatch buzzed. It was my afternoon tea alarm. Wait, it was already this late. If I did not leave soon, Lin Yu would come looking for me. The ruin master was dead and the void ruin was dissipating. But I could not wait. 105 will let me see the spatial structure. I reached out and grabbed the air, then pulled hard. A portal to the outside appeared. I stepped out without hesitation, and the portal closed automatically, leaving the awakeners confused, forcibly tearing such a large rift. So strong. Why did he leave? He did not pick up the anomaly materials. Maybe there were even spirit tools. Isn't this a windfall for us? They looked at each other, then suddenly rushed forward together. Wait, where is the capital demon's suit? That might have been a spirit tool. And that section of bloodchain fragment. I clearly saw it fall here. They frantically searched. All right, stop wasting your energy. Look at your ugly, greedy faces. That guy must have taken everything. Old Su said calmly, as a flame flickered on his finger to light a cigarette. They thought about it, and felt a bit awkward, stopping their actions. That young man was unfathomable. They had not even seen him use an ability, relying entirely on physical strength. But how was that possible? It must be their poor eyesight, failing to see his methods. There was no one in this world who could beat a demon with just physical strength. Meanwhile, across from the wetland park at a cafe, Old Chin, do you think these kids can do it? A bespectacled man sipped his coffee, staring at the wetland park. The lean middle-aged man across from him looked serious, staring at his coffee without moving, as if studying the decorative pattern. Chun Tianming glanced at the bespectacled man and said calmly, you came. If you are worried, just go yourself. His tone was cold and unconcerned. Ned, about whether those apprentice night guards could resolve the void ruin. He wanted to use this chance to screen for promising new recruits. Nanjiang had a severe gap in new talent. Besides Lin Yu, none of the others were good enough. The bespectacled man Wang Shuyang sighed. Clearly you just like tormenting newbies. Yet you say it so righteously. Chun Tianming mercilessly exposed him. You do not understand. Wang Shuyang picked up a spoon to stir his coffee. Smiling, this is called social training. Did you call her? Chun Tianming suddenly looked up into the distance. On the street, a tall woman with flowing hair was striding toward them. The girl is right on time, perfect. Time for the newbies' training to end. Wang Shuyang raised an eyebrow and smiled. But the next moment his smile froze slightly, and he suddenly turned to look at the wetland park, with a hint of surprise. Chun Tianming also turned to look. It's starting to dissipate, the void ruin is resolved. Wang Shu. Yang's expression shifted, and he put down the spoon with a helpless shrug. The world is unpredictable this time, we really found a good one. Let's go take a look. Chun Tianming smiled slightly and nodded. Then the two stood up and left. At that moment Lin Yu also noticed the void ruin dissipating, and quickened her pace to the depths. Just as she entered the restricted area, a figure was sneaking out with his head down, coming into everyone's view. Chun Tianming and Wang Shuyang, coming from afar, also saw this, but neither paid much attention. The void ruin was still dissipating, so people inside would not come out so quickly. This kid probably had not gone in yet. and happened to be there when the void ruin was resolved. At that moment the young man looked up and met Lin Yu's eyes. AMO. Lin Yu. I inwardly regretted being a step too slow and getting caught red-handed. This girl I had grown up with was no ordinary awakener. She had awakened an S-rank high-risk Ice-T type sequence absolute freeze, Nanjiang's new ace, and a key cultivation target. Unlike me who had an ordinary ability at first, and later became an ordinary person. But Lin Yu never looked down on me. Instead she always cared for and encouraged me. The fact that she could arrive so quickly was probably because she was worried about me. I scratched my head awkwardly. What a coincidence, haha. Lin Yu immediately glared and said angrily, AMO, you've grown bold hanging up on me. I quickly waved my hand. No, absolutely not. The phone died. Lin Yu glanced at the void ruin, then turned back to me seriously and asked, did you go in? I laughed it off. No. How could that be? I just walked around the park twice, and the void ruin happened to start dissipating. I said with a straight face that I did nothing. Lin Yu snorted suspiciously and asked, where are the McNuggets you brought me? I froze. Damn, the McNuggets were probably left in the void ruin. I kept my composure and said a smile. Do not mention it, I just met a little girl who was crying to her mom for McNuggets. I could not bear it, so I gave them to her. Just then the grudge level void ruin fully dissipated, and everyone came out. Someone in the distance shouted, whose McNuggets are these? Left in the void ruin, I brought them out. If no one claims them, I am eating them. Oh no, my heart sank. Lin Yu paused for a moment, then smiled brightly. Oh my, someone actually brought McNuggets into a void ruin. How strange. Don't you think so, AMO? I silently calmed myself, then laughed and forced an explanation. I did not expect anyone to love McNuggets that much. Bringing them into a void ruin so funny. As I spoke I glanced at Lin Yu, but she just snorted. She said, as long as you are safe, let's go buy another serving. Then she turned and walked out, completely unconcerned about the void ruin's aftermath. But I knew her personality. This matter was settled. I glanced back at the executive and eye guards, but did not go to claim the battle merits. Because for the moment I had not figured out how to explain my recovered injuries and successful second awakening, and the source of the awakening crystal. In short, it was troublesome. Watching Lin Yu's back, I immediately followed. I said I knew a place nearby. She snorted, you're paying. I quickly said of course. But she suddenly said, you seem a lot stronger. I paused and said, that's right. I have been secretly working out lately. Then the two chatted as they left. From a distance they looked like a young couple. Wang Shuyong smiled and nodded. But Chen Tianming casually responded, you asked the wrong person. Wang Shuyong did not mind. Instead he wondered if this young man was an awakener. If he was an ordinary person, he would be in trouble. He would definitely become henpecked in the future. Chen Tianming scoffed, meddling. Wang Shuyong smiled helplessly, then said, since everyone is out, let's take a look. At that meant deep in the wetland park, the apprentice night guards came out one by one, and the surrounding anomaly corpses began to be cleaned up. Some more smiles with good gains. Others looked grim, having been injured in this void ruin with nothing to show, and probably little battle merit. Among them 5 seemed to be a team, covered in black and red blood, and foul-smelling flesh, clearly having gone through a fierce battle. Many people gathered to ask, but the 5 looked strange and stayed silent. An executive night guard came over to ask. The 5 looked at each other, but had to tell the truth. The Ruin Master anomaly was a demon. We fell into a trap as soon as we arrived. If it had not been for that young man, we would not have made it out alive. The foul-smelling flesh on us was because we could not move and got drenched. But when we came out, it was mistaken for battle merits. The 5 were a bit embarrassed, but looking around, they did not see that young man. No wonder they were misunderstood. He had left directly. Did he not want the night patrol department's battle merit rewards? They were conflicted inside, and really could not bring themselves to take credit. They knew clearly that without that young man, they would have died for sure. Taking credit like this would be shameless. In the end, old Sue lit a cigarette and looked at the executive night guard with a bitter smile. He said, we did see the Ruin Master, but the one who killed it was not us. Ever. Yon was stunned. The executive night guard also frowned. Old Sue then recounted what had happened. The executive night guard's expression changed and asked, was the Ruin Master really a demon? The 5 nodded gravely. Damn, the Ruin Master was a demon. Good thing I did not go deep. This void ruin was probably more than grudge level. Which madman one-punched a demon? No, a 6-fold demon. The executive night guard calmed down and asked who that person was. Old Sue shook his head and said he did not know. A young man in a black t-shirt who tore open a portal and left before the void ruin dissipated. Everyone looked around. Not far away, Chun Hao felt a jolt. Could it be Suemo? The executive night guard looked around, but there were many people in black t-shirts. Old Sue smiled bitterly and said he was not here. He must have left long ago. The executive night guard nodded and left. Outside the crowd, Wang Shuyong sighed, finally finding a good one, And he was so cautious Hra. In a way, Chun Tianming nodded in agreement. If he really one-punched a six-fold demon, he would need at least mountain-level mental power. But why would he refuse the battle merits? Wang Shuyang murmured, and suddenly thought of the young man in the black t-shirt. Chun Tianming's eyes also lit up. They looked at each other, and said in unison Lin Yu's boyfriend. Wang Shuyang frowned slightly. He did not sense any strong mental power. Chun Tianming said calmly, have someone investigate. A strange glint flashed in Wang Shuyang's eyes. Lin Yu's boyfriend is interesting. He then took out his phone and gave orders. With the night patrol department's efficiency, it would not be long before the information appeared on his desk. Hopefully you are not a heretic of the evil faction. After buying the McNuggets and returning home, Lin Yu and I lived across from each other. She always said she was bored alone, so she often came to my place and occupied a room under the pretext of free loading without doing chores. As soon as I opened the door, Lin Yu rushed in, kicked off her heels and slipped into slippers. I hate, but she said because it was comfortable. Then she went into the room to change into a skirt, came out and lay on the sofa binge-watching and eating nuggets. I sat down helplessly and grabbed a burger too. AMO, have you tried a second awakening lately? Lin Yu suddenly asked. I paused and turned to look at her. She was still watching TV, but her lashes trembled slightly, clearly nervous. She was afraid of hurting my pride, so she asked casually. I sighed inwardly. With Lin Yu's intelligence, she had already noticed something at the wetland park, but did not ask because there were too many people. I did not want to lie, but I really could not explain the system, let alone the fact that I was a transmigrator. So I took another approach. I said I gave it a try, and it seemed to have succeeded. Lin Yu turned in surprise. Her red lips lightly parted. Normally awakening crystals cannot change abilities, but theoretically there is an extremely small chance of a second awakening. Many had tried, but there had never been a successful case. Now I said I had succeeded. She asked how I did it, and leaned in close. My pupils widened. Lin Yu was too close, her red lips almost touching mine. I could smell her fragrance, and instinctively wanted to pull back, but she did not give me the chance. So I had to make something up, saying I met a little girl on the road, and impulsively saved her, and forcefully awakened successfully, punching an anomaly to death. Do you believe me? I hid the awakening crystal, and had to hide the system, so I had to improvise. But Lin Yu nodded, and slapped my shoulder hard, saying she believed me 100%. Her eyes were firm, and a relieved smile appeared at the corner of her mouth, saying I knew it. I did not hear clearly, and asked knew what, but she waved her hand and sat up straight, saying never mind, according to you. You should have awakened a strength-type ability, right? I said I think so. So you also went into that grudge-level void ruin? I nodded yes. Did you see the Ruin Master anomaly? I saw it was pretty weak. Also a one-punch thing. Lin Yu was stunned. So you resolved that grudge-level void ruin? I nodded yes. She blinked, and said try punching me. I refused. But she said 100 of you could not hurt me. I said no. She said private black silk photos. I immediately said deal, no internet pictures. Lin Yu gritted her teeth, with anticipation in her eyes. We both stood up. I thought to myself, I need to control the force. A six-fold demon was shattered with one punch. If I did not hold back, I might hurt Lin Yu. Although she was strong, I could not take that risk. My eyes turned serious, and my aura suddenly changed. Lin Yu assumed a defensive stance, saying come on. I controlled my force and threw a punch. She met it with a palm. The moment fist and palm touched, a strong wind swept up, and furniture was pushed around. Lin Yu's expression changed. I also noticed something was wrong, and tried to pull back. But cold air surged from her body, and her right hand formed ice. The ice layer cracked and fell. I breathed a sigh of relief, as fist and palm separated. The ice on her hand had not thinned. Only a thin layer had fallen off, and the cold air replenished it faster. The shockwave spread, and Lin Yu's skirt lifted slightly. My eyes widened. Before I could see clearly, a wall of ice appeared out of nowhere. Quick reaction. The ice wall disappeared again, and a dangerous look flashed in Lin Yu's eyes. Asking what color did you see? I played dumb and said I zoned out. She casually asked is white nice? I subconsciously said not black. Then I realized, and stiffly looked away, saying the room is a bit dark, I should turn on the light. Lin Yu rolled her eyes and lay back in the sofa. I sat down awkwardly, my mind replaying fist and palm meeting. She was indeed strong, able to take my force. Her mental power realm was probably quite high. Lin Yu nudged me with her shoulder, asking if I was still thinking bad thoughts. I said seriously no. She hummed and stopped teasing, saying your second awakening ability is a bit like A-rank mountain-shattering fist power, but it needs testing to know for sure. I thought to myself, I had only used part of my strength just now. If I went all out, would it still be A-rank? Lin Yu then asked what I planned to do next. I said leave the logistics department and become an executive night guard. A sly glint appeared in her eyes. saying you did not claim the grudge level void ruin battle merits. Because you were worried about explaining the second awakening, right? I nodded honestly. She said leave that to me. I provided the awakening crystal, and I will explain it to the department. The battle merits will be credited to you later. She patted her chest to reassure me. My eyes were drawn. She noticed and poked my forehead. What are you thinking? I quickly changed the subject, asking if the new night guard promotion test was coming up soon. She said in a few days. You still need some battle merits, right? I nodded yes. She said she would help me watch for paranormal incidents, which was the fastest way to accumulate battle merits. I nodded okay. After that we binge-watched and played games. Until 9 p.m. before resting. I lay in bed and silently called up the system. The system screen opened, and a line of golden text appeared. Ding. Host has 2 draw chances. Use them. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining S+ Touched Tyrant multiplier experience. Description: time to test your luck. Experience gain triggers a multiplier. Minimum 2 times, no upper limit. Higher level means higher chance of high multiplier. Congratulations on obtaining S+ Touched Tyrant strongest body. Describing: battle tempering the body. Obtaining permanent 5-fold physique enhancement. Passively permanent, immune to negative rules. And when hit by a strong attack, there is a chance to trigger tempering. No upper limit to the enhancement. Holy crap. This is going to take off. I sat up suddenly. The first talent increases leveling speed, paired with the tyrant's own limit breaking. It is simply unimaginable. The second talent is simpler and more overbearing. Physique permanently enhanced 5-fold. And when attacked, there is a chance to become even stronger. No upper limit. Physique includes vitality, self-healing, endurance, and resistance. Just the 5-fold enhancement alone. Its value goes without saying. The higher the stats, the stronger the strength. I can already foresee myself in the future, standing among hordes of aberrations unscathed. Oh right. I still have free attribute points unallocated. I opened the attribute information. Name Suemo. Title Heavenly Tyrant. Level 6. Strength 133, Physique 109, Agility 109, Willpower 109. Free attribute points 16. I only added 2 points to strength. The remaining 14 points all went to physique. Allocation complete. Attributes became Strength 135, Physique 123. Agility 109, Willpower 109. The feeling of getting stronger is nice. Second Realm Aberrations and Glimmer Realm Awakened are not enough for me to beat up, at least the third realm. But my intuition tells me the third realm might not withstand one punch from me. I suddenly felt I was being too cocky. Then I opened the system backpack. Checked the drops from the capital demon. A gold watch and a blood-colored chain. They were Gear's Elegance and Blood Chain Fragment. I put the Blood Chain Fragment aside for now. Lightly touched Gear's Elegance. Spirit artifact information popped up. Quality blue rare. Category watch. Wearable. Description: capitalists are good at disguise. Effect 1, transmogrification. Can freely change clothes and accessories. Effect 2, willpower immunity to illusion and confusion. Effect 3, temptation of capital increases negative consumption. ASOSO spirit artifact. Although not strong enough, transmogrification is truly a godly skill. After all, strength is temporary. Style is forever. I can already imagine using a transmogrified cloak to show off. The willpower effect is also good. Immune to mental attacks. Having it is better than nothing. As for the negative effect, temptation of capital, it is severe for others. But I have no abilities, so I am not affected. Just basic attacks, all relying on the physical 4-dimensional stats. No kidding. Most aberrations cannot block my basic attacks. But thinking about cool skills, my attack effects are not as flashy as others. When will the system give me attack methods with effects? I took off my smartwatch, put on the gold watch. Instantly, a nouveau riche vibe appeared. I silently chanted transmogrification. The gold watch turned into a black sports watch. That vibe is right now. Next, this aberration material. How should I handle it? I reached out and opened the system backpack. Checked the half section of the blood-colored chain. The item was a broken blood chain fragment. Quality blue rare. Type material. Description: dropped by the capital demon. It can be used to forge spirit artifacts, or directly enchanted and fused into weapons or spirit artifacts. Able to grant a stiffness curse. The effect is stiffness curse. Each attack contact will inflict a brief stiffness on the enemy. Suitable for high-frequency weapons or spirit artifacts. I was slightly stunned. This effect is better than I imagined. After all, the blood-colored chain was the capital demon's main attack method, so the material still carries the demon's curse. Although I am somewhat interested, it is not very useful to me. First of all, I do not have a weapon yet, and every battle ends with a one-punch KO. Even if I get a weapon later, I still prefer something more violent. I hate dragged-out battles. Pursuing ultimate violence, ultimate satisfaction. Ultimate burst. Thinking of this, I suddenly missed Fushiguro Toji's few cursed tools. They would be a perfect match. Ultimate violence, ignoring defense. But that is too far off. I shook my head. I need war merits now. So I thought of a method. Hand over the bloodchain fragment to the Night Patrol Bureau for escrow trading. All awakened can see it on the platform. What is traded here is not dojo coins, but each awakens war merits. Likewise, as long as you have war merits, you can buy things on the platform, or directly exchange for materials or spirit artifacts. The importance of war merits is self-evident. But for now, my war merits cannot be spent recklessly. I have not yet gathered the war merits needed for the new Night Guard test. So I took out my phone, logged into the Night Patrol Bureau trading platform, submitted photos of the aberration material, selected door-to-door pickup. Before long, a knock came at the door. I went to open it. Outside stood a man in a black uniform. He carried a box on his back and said, "Hello, I am a platform specialist." I handed him the broken bloodchain fragment. After the platform specialist carefully inspected it, he took it, packed it into the box, and left. I closed the door and muttered, "It is my first time using the platform escrow trading. The efficiency is pretty fast." At that moment, Lin Yu's voice came from another room. "AMO, are you secretly ordering takeout again?" I said, "Do I look like a glutton? It is the Night Patrol Bureau picking up the aberration material for sale." But she replied with a bored "How boring." Huh, gluttonous woman. Sure enough, she wants to order takeout. I shook my head and returned to my room. My phone vibrated, notifying me that the listed item was now on the shelf. All done, time to sleep. Meanwhile, in a certain villa courtyard, a few young people were eating barbecue and chatting. One of them scrolled through his phone, asking if the Night Patrol Bureau had any supernatural missions. Another said there were many. "From your tone, you are looking for urgent high war merit ones, right?" He said. "You know me well. I am preparing for the new Night Guard test, and I still need a bit more war merits." Another asked, "Your longsword spirit artifact is damaged, right?" He said, "I had someone repair it, roughly, but I want to find some special aberration materials to enhance it. That way I will be more confident in handling incidents." At that moment, the phone-scrolling young man's eyes lit up. He looked up and said, "You owe me a favor." The other asked what. He said, "Look at this newly listed aberration material, with a stiffness curse attached. It should have dropped from a demon aberration." Hearing that, several people became interested. They gathered around to look at the phone screen. "Wow, lucky, rare quality. This material is suitable. Hey, look at the material owner. It seems to be Sumo. Sumo is the unlucky guy who was ruined a few years ago. Now he seems to be in the Night Patrol logistics. And he is your junior, right?" "He is my junior." "Watch your words. He just had bad luck encountering a powerful aberration." Another said, "Where did he get this material? Is the logistics department that wealthy now?" Several shook their heads. Then a young man walked out from inside the house, carrying beer, his hands still wrapped in bandages. "Yo, all gathered here looking at beauties." One person waved and shouted, "Captain Chun, come quick." "Why, looking at beauties together? I am not a pervert like you guys." Captain Chun raised an eyebrow and curled his lips. Saying that, his body still walked over. "Look at this rare material. And look at the owner. Do you recognize him?" Chun Hao was stunned. "Sumo. Yeah, your old classmate. Seems like he is doing well in logistics. Maybe he became a big shots lackey." A few said with a laugh. Chun Hao's pupils suddenly shrank. He froze in place. Rare material with a stiffness curse. Clearly dropped from a demon aberration. Chun Hao instantly thought of that grudge level ruin. The 5 people said the ruin master was a demon. A young man saved them and blew up the demon with one punch. At that time, he had suspected it was Sumo, but it was too inconsistent with common sense. Could an ordinary logistics person suddenly become that strong? But now this demon dropped material. Snapping back to reality, Chun Hao immediately drew in a cold breath. Sumo not only one-punched the Zombie King, but also one-punched the demon to death. Although both were grudge level, the Zombie King could not compare to the Ruin Master Demon. The early, middle, and late stages differ greatly. Chun Hao was silent for a long time. The others curiously asked what was wrong. Chun Hao looked up with a conflicted expression and said, "If I said that Sumo resolved the grudge level haunted ruin, would you believe me?" As his words fell, everyone was stunned. Then they exchanged glances and laughed. "Captain Chun, we did not expect you to be so deep." Telling a joke with a straight face. "A few of us were in the same batch as Sumo. We know each other well. He is just an ordinary person after encountering that incident. Even if he recovered his previous strength, he could not resolve a grudge-level haunted ruin. Anyway, this material is indeed good. I decided to spend some warm merits to buy it." Seeing that they did not believe him, and were still laughing, Chun Hao smiled bitterly. But the image in his mind reappeared. Sumo punching the Zombie King into the air. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would not believe it either. that the person who threw that punch was Suemo. On the other side, Shigong District. An old building, with a sign reading Dajo Town Night Security Company. But this security company was the Nanjiang City Night Patrol Bureau. Wang Shuyang's pupils suddenly contracted, then he forced calm. He placed a document on the desk, looked at Chun Tianming, who was staring blankly, smiled and said, "Someone is selling on the platform. A broken blood chain fragment. Guess who?" Chun Tianming glanced over, said, "So the one who resolved the grudge level haunted ruin is Lin Yu's little boyfriend." Wang Shuyang squinted, picked up the material, and handed it over. Said, "Yes, that young man. His name is Suemo, but the file is quite interesting." Chun Tianming raised an eyebrow. He had thought it was not important, but since he said it was interesting, there must be something special. So he took the file and flipped through it. His brow unconsciously furrowed slightly. He was also a victim of that incident. An ordinary logistics person, this is not right. Chun Tianming slowly closed the file. With a serious expression, he looked at Wang Shuyang. Said, "How could an ordinary person suddenly have this kind of power? He has a big problem. We need to continue investigating to see if it is heretical blessing." Wang Shuyang immediately clapped his hands and laughed. "Your reaction is exactly what I expected." He picked up his phone and waved it. "What if I said Lin Yu gave him another awakening crystal? He succeeded in a second awakening." Chun Tianming was slightly stunned. "This is impossible." "No, there is theoretical support. Maybe it is a coincidence." But he immediately changed his tone. His breathing gradually quickened. "The facts are before us. Suemo succeeded, being able to resolve a grudge-level haunted ruin. He must have awakened an extremely powerful ability. 1 in 10,000. It seems this year's new night guard test will be quite interesting." Wang Shuyang laughed heartily, very pleased. Chun Tianming nodded. "I heard Yang Lu also recommended a newcomer this time." Wang Shuyang smiled with his eyes. "Yes. Yang Lu and Lin Yu do not get along well. It will definitely be interesting." Chun Tianming curled his lips slightly and suddenly said, "Do you think Suemo has enough war merits to participate in this new night guard test?" Wang Shuyang's smile froze. He picked up his phone and issued orders. "It has been confirmed to be Suemo. Immediately allocate the grudge-level haunted ruin war merits to him." After putting down the phone, Wang Shuyang frowned slightly. "No, I also need to find some urgent supernatural incidents and post missions. Otherwise, this kid might be in trouble." Chun Tianming watched his amusing expression, shook his head, with anticipation and curiosity in his eyes. "The next morning, I got up and went to the window, opened it to breathe fresh air, refreshed. Then I casually glanced at my phone. There were 2 new messages on it. I opened them. The first was the grudge-level haunted ruin war merits credited. Lin Yu really is Nanjiang's ace. Quite efficient. I will treat her to McNuggets later. As a reward." Continuing down, the second message. The broken blood chain fragment was successfully sold. Transaction completed. It sold so quickly. I was in a great mood. Checked the war merits credited, and unconsciously hummed a tune. The sun shines bright. Flowers smile at me. My phone vibrated again. It was a message from Lin Yu. Lin Yu had already processed my identity. I became a probationary night guard again. No need to go to logistics for work anymore. Who can understand the joy of not working? There was also a screenshot of a supernatural mission with good rewards. I quickly opened the Night Patrol Bureau forum. Found that incident mission. Incident name 344 Night Bus. Description: in Nanmen District, people go missing every night. Until one day, a special ability awakener saw someone board a 344 bus. The next day that person disappeared. According to the Bureau's investigation, the 344 night bus does not actually exist. It only appears at a specific stop. At midnight. Estimated threat level grudge level. Recommended number of participants no more than 3. Reward 1,000 war merits. The threat is only grudge level. But the war merits are not small. 2 people have already accepted the mission. 1 spot left. I quickly accepted it. The mission time is at night. During the day, I can only rest. The days without work are boring. Who can understand? I went to the living room, turned on the TV, turned on the console. The screen showed the recently popular Black Myth Wukong. "Hey, you big-headed monster. Your destined one is here. This time I have a whole day. I will beat you down." With heroic spirit. While playing, I muttered, "You block my path, you block my path." Except for meals. I spent all my time on it. Time passed, and before I knew it, it was dark. Lin Yu was on a mission today and did not contact me. My phone alarm rang. The screen also showed the death gray screen of the destined one. Damn it, just a little more. Big head, just you wait. I frowned, turned off the TV and console, got ready, and went downstairs. Rode a blue shared bike leisurely to the stop. Before long, I arrived at the bus stop. There was no one there. The moment I stepped into the stop, the surroundings changed. Only the dim light of the stop illuminated. Everything outside the stop was pitch black. Have I already entered the haunted ruin? Once at the stop, besides getting on the bus, there is no way to leave. I wonder what the ruin master aberration is. The 344 night bus. Most likely a passenger. Maybe after boarding, the haunted ruin will even move. Thinking of this, I found it quite interesting. But one thing puzzled me. I looked around the stop and could not help murmuring, "Hey, where are my two teammates?" I played on my phone at the stop, waiting for the bus to arrive. Suddenly I stopped and looked up. Not far from the stop, a figure appeared. It was a female college student in a school uniform with a backpack, holding a red umbrella. Now she stood with her back to me. I could only see her disheveled hair and backpack. "I can tell at a glance that you are not human," I muttered to myself. A female college student-looking aberration. I turned and looked around. The monster bus had not arrived yet. The corner of my mouth lifted. I wanted to see what this aberration would do, so I took the initiative to speak. "Beauty, are you also waiting for the bus?" The red umbrella schoolgirl seemed never to have met such a friendly human before. She was stunned for a moment, then quickly reacted. Her head bent back. Through the gaps in her hair, a pale face appeared. Her bloodshot crimson eyes blinked twice. She slowly raised her arm and waved at me. If someone else were there, they would definitely be scared to death by this scene. The red umbrella schoolgirl, clearly with her back to me, was facing me head-on. Even her greeting was with her arm bent backward. A classic horror movie scene. I did not care at all. With a bright smile, I stood up and walked over. The red umbrella schoolgirl watched me approach. Her mouth split to her ears. "This human's body smells so good. Even better than ordinary awakened. Eat him." In the darkness, I walked over with a smile. My eyes showed indifference and contempt without concealment. As I drew near, a pressure rushed over her. The red umbrella schoolgirl's body suddenly sank, as if targeted by some powerful aberration. She suddenly regretted her provocative behavior and quietly stepped back. Although she was an aberration, she had her own thoughts. She already felt something was wrong. "Beauty, the surroundings are very dangerous. Stand still, I am coming." Seeing her step back, I said calmly. Hearing this, the red umbrella schoolgirl was stimulated. She got on all fours and quickly crawled backward, rushing into the darkness. Rustling sounds came from the darkness. I chuckled softly. The air around froze instantly. I stepped forward, my knees slightly bent. My calf muscles tensed. Then I suddenly exerted force, cracking the ground. My figure disappeared. The red umbrella schoolgirl ran on all fours. Her body suddenly stiffened. Her limbs felt heavy as if filled with lead. An invisible chill swept over her body. A large hand gently pressed on her neck. "Did you not hear me tell you to stop?" My calm voice sounded above her. As an aberration, the red umbrella schoolgirl had no tear ducts at all. Otherwise, she would definitely be scared to tears. Fellow monsters, who can understand? She had only greeted unintentionally at the stop, and now a perverted monster killer had targeted her. A dangerous curve appeared on my lips, just as I was about to exert force. To finish off this aberration, I suddenly stopped. My intuition warned me. If I killed this passenger now, the 344 bus would not stop. TSK, what a hassle. "Beauty, you went the wrong way. Let me take you back to the stop," I muttered softly, then gave myself a lame excuse. Without further explanation, I lifted her by the neck. Feeling the powerful force on her neck, the red umbrella schoolgirl dared not resist. Her limbs went limp, and she was dragged toward the stop. As we got closer to the stop, the rustling sounds from the darkness grew louder. My left hand loosely gripped. A solid steel rod appeared in my hand. This was a weapon I had prepared in advance. After all, when handling supernatural incidents, you need to be well prepared. Although I do not have germophobia, I do not like touching disgusting monster things with my hands. Like things that already stink. Just smelling them is disgusting. Not far away in the darkness, a four-limbed aberration with a huge mouth appeared. On its sharp, sparse teeth hung shreds of flesh. On its blood-red tongue grew flesh spines, gently writhing in the darkness. Sticky foul saliva kept dripping. The huge mouth suddenly rushed out of the darkness. It had detected a delicious human scent. I was expressionless and did not turn my head, continuing forward as if I had not noticed. Just as the huge mouth was about to bite me, my left hand gripping the steel rod bulged with veins and swung to the side with afterimages. Bang boom. An explosion accompanied by a cracking sound. The huge mouth in the darkness was instantly shattered by me. Black-red blood and flesh splattered everywhere. At the same time, me, the red umbrella schoolgirl, opened her crimson eyes in her disheveled hair. Now or never. She wanted to strike when I was relaxed. Dismemberment cursed to feed. Her dense hair, like living things, instantly wrapped around my hands and feet and tightened around my neck. A red umbrella appeared out of thin air and opened, hovering over my head. Within the umbrella's range, a bloody rain, mixed with countless blood-red flesh worms, poured down. The blood rain touched my body and emitted acid-like corrosive smoke. The blood-red flesh worms twisted and bit. At this moment, the red umbrella schoolgirl. Under her hair, her mouth split to the ears. Hair entanglement and blood-eating curse. Under her vengeful curse, no human could survive. After eating me, she should become even stronger. Right. A cold gleam flashed. A broken steel rod, with great force, was shoved into her mouth and pierced through the back of her head. Severe pain surged. She screamed in pain, but her throat was destroyed, so she could not make a sound. Your smile is not pretty. Do not smile next time. My indifferent voice sounded. The red umbrella schoolgirl's crimson eyes widened. Her pupils kept trembling. Somehow, I had already broken free from the hair. The red umbrella above disappeared when she was injured. The man before her revealed a perfect muscular upper body, without a single scratch, not even a red mark. The only thing damaged was the black t-shirt. Now just strips of cloth hanging on him. As an aberration, she felt cold for the first time. I told you I would take you back to the stop to wait for the bus. I hope you cooperate. My calm eyes did not waver. 123 physique stat, plus the S-rank Touched Tyrant's strongest body. This level of aberration curse cannot even break my defense. I simply ignored it. Grabbing the aberration's hair, I continued forward. After just 2 steps, I glanced at her again, and calmly reminded her. By the way, do not pull out that rod on your own. If the rod is gone, you are gone too. Her hands, which had just gripped the steel rod, froze instantly, and tremblingly put it down. In the darkness, a strangely harmonious scene appeared. Under the dim stoplight, a bare-chested man, holding an aberration by the hair, quietly waiting for the night bus to arrive. Under the stop, I glanced at the system pop-up. Ding, you successfully killed Spectre-level aberration gluttonous mouth. Multi-XP triggered, but unfortunately did not level up. I glanced at the red umbrella aberration at my feet. Thought killing it should level me up. Soon, just wait a little longer. Meanwhile, on another bus, Yang Feng and Wang Yang were whispering. Wang Yang said the intel was wrong. The threat level was underestimated. There were grudge-level aberrations all around. Yang Feng told him not to look around. Wait, we still have another teammate. Wang Yang blamed Yang Feng for using a spirit artifact. Otherwise they would not have boarded early. Yang Feng cursed under his breath. Was it not to hog the war merits? Who knew this bus would be so eerie? They seemed to have turned their heads. Shoo, pretend to sleep, pretend to sleep. Both were Glimmer Realm awakened. They had intended to use tricks to snatch the reward first. But the 344 bus was more dangerous than imagined. On the other side, a honking sound came. 2 beams of light shone from afar. The phone time was exactly midnight. Quite punctual, I chuckled. Then I looked at my bare upper body. It seemed a bit impolite. I silently chanted transmogrification. A black t-shirt reappeared. Much more decent. I curled my lips. Soon the 344 night bus slowly pulled up to the stop. The door opened, revealing pitch black inside. Standing outside, I could not see clearly. So I pouted, grabbed the red umbrella's hair, and stepped onto the bus. The red umbrella aberration was dragged on board. The passengers inside all looked over. Everyone was stunned. I wore a black t-shirt, politely waved my left hand, while my right hand gripped the aberration. A steel pipe through her mouth dripped black blood. The passengers tagged me as brutal. Please pay the fare, the driver said hoarsely. I raised an eyebrow and was about to act, but I glimpsed above the windshield. Blood words slowly appeared. Next stop. I thought. This bus can pick up quite a few aberrations. Then I will wait a bit longer. Not paying the fare. The driver's voice turned sharp. Then leave a part of you. His eyes turned cruel. His nails blackened and elongated. And he clawed at my chest. But I stood expressionless. The black claws touched my flesh and could not pierce in. The driver grinned. His black claw swiped down. But only sparks flew. My clothes were torn in a few places. But my skin did not even have a red mark. The tears in the clothes slowly repaired themselves. He could not even break through my clothes. Are you tickling me? I said calmly. The driver aberration stiffly looked up. I looked down at him from above. Use this to pay the fare. As I spoke, I lifted the red umbrella aberration, grabbed her head, and smashed it into the steering wheel. With a bang, her head burst. Black red blood and flesh splattered. The driver aberration was stunned. Keep the change, I said calmly. Then before the driver could react, I picked up the half-steel rod and turned toward the back. This is humiliating him. The recovering driver was furious. His eyes flared with ferocity. His pale skin was covered with black spots. Die, just die? He turned his head toward me and was about to stand up. I casually flung the steel rod. It landed perfectly between the seat and the driver's chest. The driver aberration let out a painful howl and was pinned dead to the seat. I tilted my head slightly and gave a cold glance. My killing intent surged. Trash, try baring your teeth again, drive. The driver, as if doused with cold water. His bared black teeth kept trembling. He quickly pursed his lips and turned back. If not pinned by the steel rod, he would definitely have jumped off and run. This human is fiercer than aberrations. The 344 bus started again. Only then did I carefully survey the bus. The bus was unusually clean and tidy. Except the lighting was a bit dim. There were quite a few passengers. At the very back sat a couple. The guy lay on the girl's lap, very affectionate. Further ahead was a pregnant woman caressing her belly. Further ahead was an obese fat man. His head was unusually small and his complexion gray. Finally, there was a withered old grandmother. Head down, standing in the aisle with empty seats. Under the dim light, the old grandmother's shadow reflected a muscular explosive figure. All of the above were aberrations. I then looked at my two teammates. Yang Feng had short hair and a scar on his cheek. Wang Yang had yellow hair and wore a dog-head short-sleeve shirt. Both looked at me in terror. They knew I was their teammate. But this was too brutal. Dragging a grudge-level aberration onto the bus. Killing at the slightest disagreement. Using an aberration as fair. Stabbing the driver with an iron rod. Outside, he would be a ferocious thug. I felt reassured. These two cowards would not dare steal kills. This time, all the aberrations are mine. Seeing me approach, they secretly waved. I curled my lips into a smile and politely said directly, "Hello, I am your teammate." Everyone was stunned. The two thought to themselves, "Dude, are you this direct? So many aberrations are watching." Yang Feng and Wang Yang quickly waved their hands and raised their index fingers in a shush. The most nervous Wang Yang even whistled. The aberrations all looked over. I raised an eyebrow and glanced around. "What are you looking at? Can you not see we are discussing work?" The aberrations looked away again. Yang Feng could not help but punch Wang Yang. Wang Yang quickly waved his hands to indicate he would not speak again. Yang Feng whispered that all these passengers were aberrations. Before he could finish, I suddenly said, "They are all mine." The two were baffled, but saw danger flickering in my eyes, as if ready to attack at any disagreement. They quickly said in unison, "Yours. All yours." Only then did I nod with satisfaction, walked to the side and casually sat in an empty seat. The bus was very quiet. Awakened and aberrations coexisted peacefully. Only then did I open the system panel. Clicked on the previous pop-up notification. Ding, you successfully killed grudge level aberration Red Umbrella Senior. Multi-EXP triggered, level increased to 7. Finally leveled up, let me allocate points first. I opened the attribute info. Name Su Mo, title Heavenly Tyrant. Level 7, Strength 137, Physique 125, Agility 111, Willpower 111. Free attribute points 8. I allocated 3 points to Strength and the rest to Physique. Allocation complete. Strength 137 to 140, Physique 125 to 130. A familiar heat flowed through my body. My physique was reinforced again. For some reason, the aberration passengers in the bus were all quiet and did not attack. Some closed their eyes, some lowered their heads, some looked out the window. Some were dazed, as if waiting for some opportunity. Yang Feng and Wang Yang exchanged glances. The atmosphere inside became oppressive instead. Their nerves remained tense. They even considered attacking forcefully, but were not confident. And there was a violent, arrogant teammate. This mission would not fail, right? In the pitch-black night, it suddenly started raining heavily outside. The bus continued smoothly, until a tunnel appeared ahead. At that moment, the atmosphere inside changed. All the aberrations turned in unison to look at the tunnel. "It is starting," I murmured softly. After entering the tunnel, the lights flickered wildly. The couple at the back both opened their eyes. Pitch black as ink. The guy's body made creaking sounds. The pregnant woman's skin turned grayish-blue. Her black hair turned red and danced in the air. Her pregnant belly bulged with small handprints. A pair of bloody small hands clawed and tore open the belly. The fat man also woke up with an eerie smile. The old grandmother suddenly crouched and looked up with a cat face. Her limbs swelled with bulging veins. Yang Feng and Wang Yang breathed a sigh of relief. Finally about to act. The previous atmosphere was torture. Wang Yang clapped his hands together, making a firecracker explosion. Yang Feng flicked his hands, extending steel claws. Sweat on their foreheads, they stood ready. So many grudge-level aberrations. They prepared to fight to the death for a glimmer of hope. But my eyes lit up. Wolverine reincarnated. The next second, the headlights went out. The seats and windows around began shaking. The aberrations' hunting feast began. After the headlights went out, I remained calm, and even closed my eyes. Under strong perception, everything inside the bus was laid bare. The blood-haired pregnant woman crawled like a gecko. She climbed above me. This young man is the strongest, so he became the priority target. Her head bent backward to face downward. The next second, she opened her mouth and shrieked. Invisible sound waves spread downward. Her blood-red hair instantly extended, wrapping and binding me to the seat. Countless curses frantically burrowed into my body. but her pale eyes widened, because she could not break my defense. At that moment, a bloody little figure shot out from her abdomen. That thing moved extremely fast, a blur flying toward my head, still connected by a long umbilical cord. At the same time, other aberrations also acted. The black-eyed couple stood at the back holding hands. Both mouths opened simultaneously, and endless black insects flew out like black mist, quickly surrounding me, trying to block my perception. The fat man softly said, "Dinner time." His chest fat suddenly opened into a huge, disgusting mouth. The floor, seats, and windows all animated into crimson, writhing flesh. Countless monster mouths bit my body. The cat-faced old woman was more direct. She flashed behind me and raised her thick arms to grab my head. Fear erupted inside the 344 bus. Crisis imminent. But I grinned. Trash, I have been too nice to you. I looked up and opened my eyes. A violent look flashed in my eyes. Killing intent instantly swept through the carriage. I exerted force and stood up. All the hair wrapped around me snapped, along with the teeth of the monster mouths biting me. First, I said calmly. I grabbed the cat-faced old woman's arm. With sudden force, pulled and flung. She smashed through seats and fell to the floor. I tore off her thick arm, casually swung and knocked away the little one. Raised my foot and stomped hard. Like a watermelon bursting, the cat-faced old woman died. Ding. System notification sounded. You successfully killed grudge-level aberration cat-faced old woman. Multi-EXP triggered, level increased. I curled my lips. Second. I looked up, my cold gaze piercing through the black mist. Directly locked onto the blood-haired pregnant woman. My left hand grabbed the little one that lunged. Flung it at the window, smashing it into a meat patty. Then I grabbed the umbilical cord, wrapped and pulled. Pulling the pregnant woman down from the ceiling. She flew in front of me. I kicked. Bang. She exploded like a missile, disintegrating. The blood-haired pregnant woman died. Ding. You successfully killed mother-child twin killers. Multi-EXP triggered, level increased. The driver stole a glance, his eyes twitching. In a moment, 2 aberrations had been killed. I turned and spoke again. Third and fourth. Want to come together. My calm voice was like a death knell. The black-eyed couple and the fat man were now terrified. This human does not use abilities, but has terrifying strength. The black-eyed couple crouched simultaneously, for hands inserted into the floor. Countless black arms grabbed at me. The fat man opened his huge mouth to the maximum. Inside his mouth, there was also a black vortex. Then he charged fiercely, trying to swallow me. I yawned, all flashy and no substance. Casually threw a punch with my right hand from a distance. Boom! All the windows shattered. The fist wind howled like a hurricane. The fat man died. The black-eyed couple died. Ding! You successfully killed the hungry mouth incarnation. Multi-EXP triggered. Ding! You successfully killed the insect twin bodies. Multi-EXP triggered again. On the other side, Yang Feng and Wang Yang were splashed all over. Wang Yang shouted, "Feng Go! I am under attack." Then his hands made firecracker sounds. He kept swinging at the flesh chunks. Yang Feng also swung his wolf claws, sweeping and uppercutting, moving with ferocious might. My eyes lit up. What a great performance with no actual target. I gave a mental evaluation, professional. The bus exited the tunnel. The headlights came on again. The two stared at the flesh chunks, stunned. They thought it was their own abilities that had dismembered the corpses. I clapped and said, "Not bad, not bad. You can tell you have trained before." But the two had no time to appreciate the compliment. Their eyes widened as they looked at the pile of limbs beside me. Wang Yang said, "Feng Go, no wonder. I was nervously defending for so long. Turns out the little bro carried us 1v4. Yang Feng was silent. Wang Yang added, "Not a single aberration thought highly of us." Yang Feng said, "Next time you talk, do not include me." I watched the two perform a comedy routine and thought to myself, there are so many talented awakened. Then the announcement sound suddenly rang. Next stop changed to destination, desolate grave ghost school. A female aberration is waiting ahead, but the bus made a sharp U-turn, accelerated away from the stop, leaving the female aberration dumbfounded. I raised an eyebrow and looked at the driver. He muttered, "Cannot go to ghost school, cannot go to ghost school." But his body uncontrollably pressed the gas pedal deeper. The speed grew faster and faster. I said calmly, "Stop, I dare you." Before the words faded, I roared. Flesh mysteriously fell off the driver's body. I shot forward, but did not get the kill. The driver aberration just died like that. This was my experience points. And I did not even know who stole it. Wang Yang asked, "What do we do now?" Yang Feng said, "The Ruin Master has not been killed yet. The Haunted Ruin will not disappear. With the driver gone, where is the Ruin Master? Could it be at the next stop, Ghost School?" Yang Feng said, "I will drive, follow the road." I reached out and stopped them. "Have you not noticed the bus has not stopped? It is still accelerating." Yang Feng looked at the gas pedal. It was slowly pressing down on its own, as if an invisible driver was stepping on it. I said, the Ruin Master will not be at the next stop. Ghost School might not be a good place. Maybe even a higher-level haunted ruin. Before dying, the driver muttered he could not go to Ghost School. Even the aberration resisted it. So it is most likely not a good place. Wang Yang dejectedly rubbed his head. Yang Feng remained silent. But I was not worried. With my physical stats, I fear nothing anywhere. But without a mission and war merits, I am too lazy to act. However, the bus was accelerating on its own, and the Ruin Master had not been found yet. Wait, the bus. I looked around inside. The damaged seats and windows were slowly repairing. I suddenly had a guess. If I said the Ruin Master is this bus itself, would you believe me? Their faces turned pale, and they stiffly turned their heads. Then we are all inside the Ruin Master's stomach now. I raised my finger and waved it. Just now it was a guess, now it is fact. It can no longer hold back. I gestured to them. The scene inside the bus changed drastically. Everything turned into flesh. Black fluid seeped from the floor. Black blood dripped from the ceiling. Holy shit, it really came alive. Wang Yang yelped and pressed against the flesh on the window. Yang Feng roared and slashed at the tentacles. But the damage quickly healed. The whole bus came alive. Flesh covered the surroundings. It tried to digest us. I frowned and muttered. So disgusting. Grabbed their clothes and kicked the door. Boom! The flesh door burst open with a large hole. I exerted force with my legs and jumped out with the two before the hole repaired. As soon as we landed, the bus turned around. Its front turned into an aberration head. The headlights became blood-red big eyes. The bumper became an abyssal maw. Flesh arms grew from the body, and it madly charged at the three of us. Yang Feng and Wang Yang were dumbfounded. I said calmly, stand still. Then with my hands in my pockets, I charged toward it. With each step, my momentum built. The surrounding air thickened. The bus's charging speed slowed. Wang Yang said emotionally, the little bro is facing the Ruin Master for us. Yang Feng's mouth twitched. My step faltered, and I almost lost my composure. Stop your creepy noises. I am not going to my death. I curled my lips and showed contempt. Such trash. Before I finished, their faces changed drastically. Watch out. The aberration bus suddenly burst forth. Its flesh glowed brightly red. Blue flames shot from the rear. In an instant it was upon us, a flesh arm smashing down. At some point I had already raised my leg and kicked out. Boom! A deafening explosion. A huge black shadow flew backward, plowing a deep trench in the ground. Flesh scattered within the trench. Just as my words fell, I can kick 10 of them away with one kick. The two were blasted away by the shockwave. They just got up and saw this scene. Their minds went blank. Thud! They both knelt down. That back figure was like a god. I stood there without moving. Ding! System detected a one-use spirit artifact. Fake stop. Do you want to pick it up? Pick up. A mini stop appeared in the backpack. I opened it to check. Can summon a projection of the 344 bus. Choose to leave the haunted ruin, or go directly to the Ruin Master. To others it is a divine tool. To me, it is just okay. In front of me, it is the aberration that runs. Ding! You successfully killed Grudge level aberration Night Ruin bus. Multi-EXP triggered, level increased. Reached level 10, new mission unlocked. New growth mission, reach level 15, reward Tyrant special draw. Congratulations on completing the level 10 mission. Obtained 1 Tyrant exclusive draw. Use it. Yes. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining S+ Talent Tyrant Combat Mastery. Description includes unarmed and weapon combat experience. Grants basic enhanced amplification. Can accumulate proficiency to continue upgrading with no upper limit. This talent is the core talent of the Tyrant. Permanently active, unrestricted. Tyrant Combat Mastery, LV1. Unarmed combat strength multiplied by 5. Weapon combat strength multiplied by 10. This is ridiculously strong. Strength enhancement is not just attack power. It also includes explosive power, penetrative power, and defense breaking. The higher the stats, the more terrifying the amplification. 1 point of strength versus 1,000 points of strength multiplied are completely two different concepts. And this is only at LV1. I was delighted inside. For now, I do not have a suitable weapon. Ordinary weapons break after one use. A steel pipe is still practical and cheap. I should stock up on more in the future. The system notifications kept sounding. The haunted ruin began to change. The darkness in the sky faded and stars appeared. Wang Yang shouted, Feng Go, look at the Ruin Master. The bus was reduced to a pile of rotten flesh. Yang Feng stared blankly at my back. That one kick killed the Ruin Master instantly, and I did not even see any ability. The haunted ruin completely dissipated. We appeared beside the bus stop. I took a photo and submitted the mission. Contacted the cleanup department to come over. Wang Yang asked admiringly, what is your name? Big shot. Thanks to you this time. We voluntarily give up the war merits. Yang Feng also said solemnly. And there is such a good thing. A smile appeared on my face. 2 experts, pleasant cooperation. My name is Su Mo, or just call me little bro. Wang Yang asked, what experts? Yang Feng was also puzzled. I gestured a few times. Your combat moves are very professional, better than mine. Then I checked the time and waved with a smile. It is still early. Go back and catch up on sleep. See you later. I got on the blue shared bike and left, leaving the two bewildered in the wind. Wang Yang asked, Feng Gu, did the little bro say I am professional? Yang Feng looked at him like he was an idiot, then walked toward the Mercedes G-Class, parked by the road. Wang Yang quickly followed. With a roar, the two drove away together. At 5 in the morning, I returned home. Lied down directly on the sofa. The sofa is comfortable, the bus was too hard. Almost forgot. I muttered. Immediately opened the system interface. The previous notifications were not finished yet. The first thing I saw was a pop-up. After many battles, the host has triggered the tempering effect multiple times. The tyrant's strongest body has been enhanced. Physique amplification increased to 680%. Holy crap, this is inhuman. The S+ talent can evolve. No one can stop it. Even a god would have to curse hacks before leaving. 1 grudge level haunted ruin, and the physique amplification became 680%. After handling a few more supernatural incidents, it is destined that I will walk sideways in haunted ruins. After calming down, I closed the pop-up. Immediately another one popped up below. Congratulations on reaching level 10. The exclusive talent self-break limit triggered again. Enhanced attribute break limit mechanism. After level 10, each level up grants 32 attribute points, of which 16 points are +4 to all attributes. The remaining 16 points can be freely allocated. Oh, the cheating starts again. After level 10, attribute points double. From the original 16 points to 32 points. Why am I not surprised at all? I am indeed numb to it. I already take cheating for granted. Calmly closed the pop-up. Realized I still had free attribute points unallocated. Opened the attribute information. Name Su Mo, title Heavenly Tyrant. Level 10, Strength 146, Physique 136, Agility 117, Willpower 117. Free attribute points 24. I thought for a moment and allocated all 24 points to Strength. I lack a sense of security. Only with enough strength can I feel at ease. Might as well make it a round number. Ding, allocation complete. Strength from 146 to 170. I looked at the strength stat, satisfied. Lay on the sofa grinning foolishly. While I was being silly, the door to the room opened. It was Lin Yu, coming out in her pajamas. She must have heard my commotion. What are you grinning about? Was the mission smooth? I smiled and sat up, patting the sofa beside me. She rolled her eyes and walked over with her long legs. Sat down naturally next to me. It is only a grudge level incident. Do not get too proud. After all, you awakened an A-rank talent. Your initial spirit power should have reached Glimmer Realm. With both combined, an ordinary grudge level haunted ruin is naturally no pressure for you. I curled my lips and smiled. But I did not tell Lin Yu that in fact, I have no spirit power at all. But with my physical stats, grudge level aberrations are indeed beneath notice. Lin Yu yawned and stood up. This year's new Night Guard test. The date is set, the day after tomorrow. My archrival will also recommend someone. I heard it is also an A rank. You must not lose then. You have to beat him down. Hearing that, I felt a bit helpless. So soon. I have not met the war merit requirement yet. And you are already thinking of having me show off. After this incident ends, you should not be far off, right? Do not worry. I have connections above to find you missions. I will go sleep a bit more first. Saying that, Lin Yu pushed the door and went back to catch up on sleep. I had intended to tell her that I took all the war merits for myself this time. And I am almost there. No need for her to find good missions. But seeing Lin Yu so sleepy, I opened my mouth but said nothing. Forget it, I will tell her tomorrow. Thinking that, I lay back down and dozed off on the sofa. But the sofa was too comfortable. That doze lasted until the next noon. Looking at the thin blanket on me, it must have been Lin Yu who covered me. Just covering my stomach would have been fine. But she covered me completely. No wonder I dreamed I was in a sauna. I could not help complaining. Looking at the black t-shirt, I remembered. It was transmogrified from Gear's Elegance. I went to the wardrobe to get a white t-shirt. Then I removed the transmogrification. At that moment, bang, the door was pushed open. I was stunned and turned to look. Lin Yu stood at the door in a red dress. She also looked over with a surprised expression. We locked eyes. Lin Yu saw my perfect physique. Her face flushed slightly. Then she forced calm and teased. I never knew that at home alone. You dress so lightly, not even wearing clothes. TSK, AMO, you have trained well. Come on, let sister touch to check if it is real. I rolled my eyes. Lin Yu is just all talk. I put on the white t-shirt. Why did you suddenly come back? Hearing that, Lin Yu slapped her forehead, ran back to the room, almost forgot. After a moment, she walked out with a box. I recognized it at once. Is that not your weapon case? Why are you putting dangerous stuff in my place? What if it explodes? The landlord would kill me. Oh, do not mind the details, I am leaving. She waved and took the things, about to leave. She paused at the door, turned back and said to me, "Oh right, I found a mission. An urgent large-scale supernatural incident. It gives a lot of warm merits. I will send it to you later. But the official has not estimated the level yet. It might be dangerous, maybe forget it. There will be other missions." I casually waved. "Send it to me first, let me take a look." "Okay." Lin Yu nodded and left. Before long, my phone vibrated. I picked it up and saw. It was a link sent by Lin Yu. I casually clicked it and jumped to the forum. Red bold headline. Multiple disappearances over 2 consecutive years. A suburban ruin filled with resentment. Multiple disappearances over 2 years in the suburbs. Who would go to that godforsaken place? Pure boredom. Just looking at the title, I was speechless. No risk, no fun. I guess. I opened the mission. Incident. The eerie suburban ruin. Description. Over the past 2 years, many missing person reports have been received. Investigation found that many adventure and exploration enthusiasts came to the suburban ruin on their own for exploration live streams. Without exception, all went missing. The original site of the suburban ruin was a private psychiatric hospital built on a mountain long ago. Due to human experimentation and organ trafficking, it was forcibly abandoned. For unknown reasons, resentment accumulated, giving rise to aberrations and a haunted ruin, causing multiple deaths and disappearances. Extremely dangerous. According to a preliminary survey by specialists, the dense forest on the mountain has a lower danger level. The psychiatric hospital at the top has a higher danger level. The ruin master is suspected to be half-step blood cloak and is sleeping within. It is recommended to act within your means and only clear the dense forest. The peak will be handled later by the Night Patrol Bureau. Threat level estimated unknown, tentatively classified as fierce level. Special restriction. Only those below Candle Realm can enter. Recommended number of participants unlimited. Warm merits distributed by contribution. This haunted ruin is quite large. It can cover an entire mountain. There should be no shortage of aberrations. They are all mine. My eyes lit up. After accepting the mission, I sent a message to Lin Yu. This mission is very interesting. I accepted it. Okay, do not go too deep, just farm more merits on the outskirts. Do you want me to arrange a helper? You know Jiang Wei from your same batch. She is already a full night guard, and the bureau just assigned her to go in. No, I do not need help. Call me a lone wolf. Lin Yu replied with ellipsis. I remember this Jiang Wei. She was the strongest awakened in that batch. She became a full night guard last year. She awakened A-rank blood type. Blood demon armor, flashy effects, and high damage. Thinking about it now, it is really cool. But helpers, no thanks. I do not like others getting in the way, even if it is a cool pretty girl. I checked the time. It is about time to set off. After all, the blue shared bike is not fast. I packed up and went downstairs immediately. Great, the bike is still there. Rode the blue bike and set off. An hour later, I arrived at the foot of the suburban mountain. A cordon had been set up here. There were many people around. To be precise, awakened. Most were probationary night guards. There were also a few freelancers. Some bragged and chatted, some waited quietly. Such a large haunted ruin is not only dangerous, but also represents opportunity. It will produce abundant aberration materials, spawn special aberrations, and greatly increase the drop rate of spirit artifacts. After all, there is a suspected half-step blood cloak ruin master. Rich resources are normal, if not for the ruin master sleeping, and the official not having enough manpower. The Night Patrol Bureau would not let them in. At this level of haunted ruin, at that moment, in a black off-road vehicle, a night guard team was waiting. A heroic-looking girl looked at the crowd, thinking to herself, the rule this time restricts entry below Candle Realm. But there are too many strange points. The higher-ups worried about accidents and gave her a special spirit artifact. Let her seal part of her strength and lead the team in to investigate and kill the ruin master. Buzz, her phone vibrated. She frowned and checked. Lin Yu, Xiao Wei, when you go to the suburban ruin, please secretly take care of Suemo for me. Suemo? Did he not get injured and go to logistics? Why is he coming to such a dangerous haunted ruin? He has already recovered and has Glimmer Realm strength. Help him farm some warm merits in the dense forest. I will treat you to a meal later. Jiang Wei replied. Okay. She had some doubts in her mind. She remembered Suemo as a weakling. Coming to this kind of haunted ruin is pure suicide. But since Lin Yu asked, she would still do it. To let him earn warm merits, she would first take him to kill a few aberrations in the forest. The ruin master is sleeping, so it does not delay anything. Thinking this, Jiang Wei scanned the crowd and found that figure. At that moment, I was bored waiting and scrolling on my phone. Everyone was discussing precautions for the haunted ruin. Today's suburban ruin should be the largest one I have encountered this year. Indeed, so many people came. Several of the stronger ones have arrived. Just from what I can see, there are Chun Hao, Yang Feng, Sun Wan. I heard the official will also dispatch a full night guard team to enter the Hilltop Psychiatric Hospital for investigation, and even possibly attempt to kill the ruin master. Half-step blood cloak sounds really dangerous. I am a bit scared. Do not worry, we mainly rely on the night guard team. We are just responsible for clearing the trash. The official prepared one ruin-breaking stone for each person. If you encounter danger, you can teleport out. If we follow behind the night guard team up the mountain, would it be safer, and maybe we can pick up leftovers? Dream on. Would they let you follow? But if you are a pretty girl, I am C-rank Glimmer Realm and can let you follow. Before long, the Night Patrol Bureau brought a stone gate. This is a special spirit artifact. The stone gate opened, forming a black vortex. Everyone received a ruin-breaking stone and entered through the vortex. The stone gate will record your aura. If you encounter danger and use it, you can directly return here. The Night Patrol Bureau staff explained to everyone the aberrations you kill. The ruin-breaking stone will absorb their aura and record them. After you come out, war merits will be distributed according to quantity and level. This haunted ruin is relatively dangerous. The aberration ranks inside fluctuate greatly. I hope everyone will act within their means. After saying that, he stepped aside. The awakened began to enter. As each person went in one by one, I suddenly turned to look into the distance. A black figure flashed by and disappeared. I frowned slightly. Just now someone was spying. That figure had a strange aura, a mix of human and aberration. Is it an aberration or a human? I had an unexplained bad feeling. The stone gate vortex color began to fade. The Night Patrol Bureau specialist urged, "If you want to enter, hurry up, the entrance is about to close." I turned and walked toward the vortex. With a flash of black light, my figure disappeared. After everyone entered, the night guard team came over. Jiang Wei instructed the others. After entering the haunted ruin, you go to the mountain top to investigate first. I have other tasks and will be there later. Yes, Captain. Finally, the night guard team entered. The stone gate vortex also disappeared. I only felt the dark scene spinning, with a slight hum. When I opened my eyes again, the scenery was completely different. I knew I had entered the haunted ruin. In the pitch-black sky hung a blood moon. The originally barren mountain was covered with eerie trees. Dense black fog filled the forest. The building on the peak loomed indistinctly. I looked around. This space was very large. The awakened who had entered earlier were no longer in their original spots. Even the nearest was several hundred meters away. Behind me in the distance, another wave of fluctuation occurred. A small team in black uniforms appeared. 4 of them rushed directly into the dense forest. Only one girl stayed behind, walking toward me. This girl was Jiang Wei. I frowned slightly. "Suemo, come with me. I will take you into the forest to kill aberrations. Once you have enough war merits, use the ruin-breaking stone to leave. This haunted ruin is not as safe as you think. Otherwise they would not have given everyone a ruin-breaking stone." Saying that, she walked forward on her own. After a few steps, she noticed I did not follow. She turned her head and saw me frowning slightly, looking at her calmly. "Why are you not coming?" "I do not have much time." Jiang Wei raised an eyebrow and said flatly, "Lin Yu sent you." I curled my lips and asked my doubt. "Do not waste time, if you do not go." Before she finished her sentence, I refused. My calm voice had already sounded. People in the distance saw a night guard and hurried over, just in time to see this scene. Those awakened were stunned. What? Did I hear that wrong? They came over precisely to follow behind the night guard for safety, and maybe pick up some scraps. This kid must have a screw loose, directly refusing. If not for the night guard seeming to know him, they would have started cursing already. At this moment, Jiang Wei also showed surprise, but quickly regained composure. "Why? You came for war merits. Is following me not more efficient and safe?" This was her confidence. Candle Realm strength, combined with A-rank ability, was already more than enough in this haunted ruin. At critical moments, she could even unseal and restore Mountain Realm strength. In theory, you are right. But bringing a dead weight is inefficient. You are very self-aware. But for me, this is not a problem. I grinned. "Sorry, I think you misunderstand. The dead weight I am talking about is not myself." Jiang Wei was slightly taken aback, then shook her head. "Just Glimmer Realm strength gives you this much confidence." I helplessly rubbed my forehead. I knew Lin Yu must have told her that. I have never said I am Glimmer Realm. By the systems division, level 10 is still Micro Realm. "Sorry, I have things to do. See you later." I was too lazy to explain. Lightly waved my hand, turned and walked toward the dense forest. Jiang Wei did not say anything more. She stood there quietly, watching my leaving back. She was a proud person, being able to talk to me this much. was all because of Lin Yu's face. She just treated it as a mission. The other awakened not far away, seemed to see hope, thinking Jiang Wei wanted to find scouts. So they stepped forward one after another. Sir, that kid does not know what is good for him. Ignore him. We are willing to follow behind you. Go up the mountain together and help clear aberrations. That is right. My ability is Vine Entanglement. It is more effective in the forest and can control the field. And my ability is Earth Spike. It has decent power and can also help. The group of Awakened chattered, selling themselves like peacocks spreading their tails, frantically showing off their strength, trying to make Jiang Wei think they were qualified scouts. But at this moment, Jiang Wei seemed deaf to the noise. Her eyes remained calm, looking in the direction I left. After a moment, she glanced at them with slight disgust and activated her ability, Wind Rise. A huge blood eagle suddenly appeared in the sky, diving down. Under the terrified gazes of the crowd, Jiang Wei lightly stepped, leaped in the air, and landed on the back of the blood eagle. The blood eagle spread its wings and carried her into the dense forest, leaving only the crowd overturned by the wind. I walked calmly in the dense forest. That psychiatric hospital. I am very interested. As long as I cross the forest, I can reach the peak. I was just thinking that. The next moment, a terrifying aura instantly enveloped the entire mountain. Looking up, I was also stunned. Not just me. All the awakened in the haunted ruin stiffly stared at the sky above the peak. Above the peak, under the blood moon, a humanoid black shadow appeared out of nowhere. Countless black tentacles extended from behind, gently waving in the air. Dense and eerie, the humanoid black shadow stood still in the air, wearing a strange mask, revealing narrow eyes with green snake pupils. A black pipe was held between his lips. Faint black smoke curled around. Above the mask, delicate eye sockets were carved, inlaid with green beast pupil gems. Other parts were painted with swirling black fog. His body surface flickered with black flames. Bloody eyes occasionally opened in the black flames. Sometimes on the arm, sometimes on the chest, sometimes on the leg. It looked like the eyes were moving. But there was another horrifying possibility. Under the black flames, the body was actually made of blood-red eyes. Everyone shuddered, their bodies trembling slightly. The next moment, his mouth moved slightly. A cold voice echoed in the haunted ruin. Welcome, let me introduce myself. Long ago, humans called me by this name. Envy, the original sin, Leviathan. Many awakened exchanged glances. They had never heard of this name, but they could tell this was a terrifying aberration. Most likely the ruin master of the psychiatric hospital, suspected to be half-step blood cloak. Only the night guard team had dramatically changed expressions. Their eyes flickered as if they knew something. The black shadow calling himself Leviathan spoke again. Now amuse me with your deaths. Now amuse me with your deaths. As he spoke, Leviathan's tentacles twisted together into a pair of black wings. He flapped them fiercely. A fierce gale appeared out of nowhere. A huge oppressive force descended. Leviathan flew toward the awakened at the foot of the mountain. At this moment, the haunted ruin space glowed with a dark red light. Countless black-red symbols appeared at the borders. This meant the haunted ruin had been sealed by the ruin master. Ordinary awakened could not enter or leave. Fortunately, the ruin-breaking stones were special spirit artifacts. At this time, the ruin-breaking stone in everyone's possession turned red and grew slightly hot. This was a red warning set by the Night Patrol Bureau, reminding everyone that a crisis was imminent. But everyone had just entered and gained nothing. Not a single one used the ruin-breaking stone to leave. Looking at the terrifying figure flying down from the peak, those who remained turned pale. No way. Was it not said the ruin master was sleeping? I just came in. How is the ruin master right in my face? It must be an illusion. One weirdo was shouting loudly and slapping himself hard in the face, trying to wake himself up. The others had no time to pay attention to him. Their eyes were fixed on the figure in the air. The immense pressure made breathing difficult. Is this the power of the ruin master? Half-step blood cloak. Just its aura is this terrifying. Or is it not half-step blood cloak at all? The next second, Leviathan was already above the dense forest. He said mockingly, "Foolish humans. Why are you the spirits of all things? How enviable." As his voice fell, the entire mountain shook. Everything seemed to envy life itself. Animals, plants, trees, flowers, and inanimate rocks all twisted, turning into green-eyed giant snakes. They revived right beside the awakened and immediately attacked everyone. Many were still staring at the sky and did not notice the changes at their feet. Countless screams rang out. Those who did not react became food. Blood and limbs splattered everywhere. It was like a slaughterhouse of death. Humans became fish on the chopping block. At this time, outside it was already dark, under several huge searchlights. It was still as bright as day. Night Patrol Bureau specialists were patrolling. Other personnel sat under tents, eating boxed meals and chatting. I really envy these youngsters. Young, energetic, and daring. You were also reckless when you were young. Now that you are old, you start reminiscing. Who among us was not like that when we were young? Seeing young people now does make one feel emotional. How long do you think it will be before some scared little ones come out? How about a bet? I bet an hour. 2 hours. I bet 2 hours too. Haha. While they were joking, at the stone gate, a reverse black vortex appeared. A white beam was spat out by the vortex. The people outside were dumbfounded by this scene. So fast. You just went in and came out. Did you even encounter an aberration? Probably not even a single war merit. Just went in for a look and left. That little guy needs a lesson. A night patrol bureau specialist with a serious expression was about to question him, but the reverse vortex appeared again. He clenched his fists in anger. These probationary night guards are too childish. The next second, he froze. The vortex spat out dozens of white beams at once, and it kept going. Before long, half of the people came out, all heavily injured. Many were missing arms or legs. The people outside looked at the tragic scene. Almost all were stunned. One awakened who escaped, shouted with a sobbing voice. The Ruin Master went berserk. He woke up. Many people died. He said his name is Envy, original Sin Leviathan. He is slaughtering. He is slaughtering. Fear instantly spread to everyone. Their faces changed drastically. The Ruin Master suddenly woke up and started killing. How could that be in such a large haunted ruin? But that person said many died. And only after such a short time. Such heavy casualties, they did not even have time to use the ruin-breaking stones. Could it be that the Ruin Master is not half-step blood cloak? Everyone turned pale. The Night Patrol Bureau specialists also panicked. A team leader from the execution department immediately shouted, "Medical team, organize treatment immediately. Request support from above at once." He glanced at the injured still being spat out. "The rest of you, do not stand around. Immediately assist the medical team. Give me the phone, I will report immediately." Someone quickly brought a phone. He took it and walked to a corner. While waiting for the call to connect, he turned and looked at the busy crowd. Gently wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Nanjiang City Night Patrol Bureau had not had such a big accident in many years. During the previous investigation, the Ruin Master was clearly in deep sleep. How could this be? The call connected, and he said, "Director, big trouble." At this moment, inside the haunted ruin, Leviathan had returned to the peak. He stood elegantly under the blood moon. His green eyes held mockery and scorn, like a god overlooking the deaths of mortals. Every time he devoured someone, black smoke threads appeared, falling into his pipe. The black smoke grew deeper and deeper. He watched like an overlord, quietly enjoying the show, occasionally taking a puff. Below was a stage of death, filled with explosions, screams, and roars. Many had already escaped using the ruin-breaking stones, but some awakened were unwilling to give up, and fought against the green-eyed giant snakes. In a corner of the dense forest, 5 people huddled together trembling. They were Chun Hao and the probationary night guards from the same batch. They had originally grouped together, but after encountering the green-eyed giant snakes, they scattered and fled. These 5 had escaped together, now pale-faced, watching the fierce battles around them. Fear filled their hearts. A girl trembled and said with a sobbing voice, "How could this happen? The first time entering such a large haunted ruin, and encountering this. I only wanted to farm some more merits. I do not want to die. I am leaving." She took out her ruin-breaking stone, ready to leave. A guy holding a long knife grabbed her. "Wait, let us see the situation first. Such a large haunted ruin, such a strong ruin master. There must still be many precious aberration materials. Once we leave, we may never get this chance again. Besides, you are our only healer. With you, we can still get good stuff." The others also looked at the girl. The girl hesitated a bit. "But what about these giant snakes?" Chen Hao, who had been silent, wiped his face. "Do not panic, most of the dead were caught off guard and ambushed. With our strength, we can try to fight. Maybe the giant snakes are not as strong as we think." He analyzed like that. But inside he was panicked. His original plan had not been like this. He had wanted to team up with Su Mo. When outside, he had glimpsed Su Mo by accident. But after a distraction, he was gone. After entering, he had kept looking for him. He should have asked for his phone number last time. He regretted it a bit. At that time, he had not lowered himself to ask for contact info. The others had not noticed yet that the nearby trees had also mutated with envy. Branches twisted, trunks showed green pupils. Staring intently at the 5, black smoke wafted from the snake pupils. This tree suddenly turned into a giant snake. Flicking its tongue, it pounced fiercely. Fortunately, someone had been alert all along, and upon sensing movement, immediately activated their ability. "Watch out! Air barrier, open." A transparent barrier appeared in front of the giant snake, blocking its pounce for a moment. But the barrier shattered after just one hit. Fortunately, everyone retreated in time. Seeing the giant snake so close, the girl screamed in terror. She instinctively used the ruin-breaking stone to escape. White light wrapped around her. A black vortex swallowed her, and she disappeared. Damn that idiot. Chunhao cursed angrily. Two others, seeing the healer flee, also thought of retreating and took out their ruin-breaking stones. This little group was about to fall apart. Chunhao was alarmed and immediately shouted, "Do not run. This giant snake is not that strong. If the four of us attack together, we have a chance. At least earn some more merits before getting out." He knew he had to set an example. Before the words faded, he stepped forward and slapped the black long box on his back with his left hand. A mechanical turning sound rang out. The red alloy longsword flew out. He caught it with his right hand and clamped it under his left arm. Demonic fire wrapped around him as he gave a light shout. He pulled horizontally to draw the blade. Blue flames covered the edge of the sword. The green-eyed giant snake just happened to charge over. Sword's skill 100 pierces. The blue sword light was ghostly in the dark night. Chunhao thrust dozens of times in an instant. The snake's body was covered in blue flames. The others' eyes lit up and they all shouted. Water blessing, draw and high-frequency slash. Fireball, super big fireball. Thorn spikes, stabbing it into a honeycomb. Bang 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 boom. Various abilities shot out. Although the names were flashy, they had already used their strongest moves, ready to gamble on earning war merits. When all the abilities hit the giant snake, a violent explosion and impact occurred. All four were pushed back several steps, staring intently at the smoke ahead. No movement. The giant snake made no sound. They had won. But before their excitement could fully show, a shadow swept out from the smoke. The four could not dodge in time. All were sent flying back with blood spat out. Looking up, they realized the shadow just now was the snake's tail. The smoke was blown away by the airflow. The snake's skin was only slightly scorched, not even bleeding. The four turned pale. Their combined attack just now was only tickling, could not even break its defense. Then there was no point fighting. War merits were not as important as life. At this point, Chunhao also fell silent. All four took out their ruin-breaking stones at the same time, ready to activate and leave. But the green-eyed giant snake was unwilling. The attack just now was nothing much, but it had successfully angered it. These humans wanted to hit and run. Its green pupils glowed brightly. A terrifying heaviness fell upon everyone. Their blood surged, hearts pounded violently, as if carrying a mountain, unable to move. It was over. They could not use the ruin-breaking stones. Body move. Damn it. In the dense forest of the haunted ruin, the green-eyed giant snake opened its bloody maw and lunged at the immobilized ones. The fear of death descended. Their minds went blank. They even began to review their lives. They were about to die. It seemed they saw their great-grandmother waving. At that moment, in their ashen gazes, a blurry figure appeared above the giant snake, falling rapidly from the blood moon. I was in midair, thinking, "Oh, Chunhao, why him again?" Then my gaze fell on the green-eyed giant snake. I grinned, madness in my eyes. "Hey trash, look at me." The giant snake that was about to bite the four. Its green pupils suddenly contracted with anger. There was another human above. It jerked its head up and opened its huge mouth to bite. In the eyes of Chunhao and the four, my tiny figure was about to be swallowed the next second. I clenched my right fist and pulled my elbow back. A crazy laugh escaped my lips. "Good. Let me see how many punches you can take." My gaze instantly turned cold. Looking at the bloody maw right in front of me, I threw a punch. Boom! The terrifying fist wind produced a crackling sound. An invisible shockwave fell like a giant hammer, roughly stuffed into the snake's bloody mouth. The terrifying maw instantly tore apart. The powerful force pierced straight through. The body swelled, burst, and flesh splattered everywhere. Boom! The broken body crashed to the ground, making a huge sound. At this moment, in the eyes of Chunhao and the others, time seemed to stand still. Watching the figure descending from the blood moon, their minds went blank again. Only Chunhao opened his mouth and unconsciously called out, "Susumo." The other three seemed to have lost the ability to speak. Their eyes wide, expressions dazed. They all recognized me. The one who was severely injured and lost his abilities, and was assigned to logistics. Sumo, is something not quite right here? An ordinary person casually throwing a punch could blow up a green-eyed giant snake, while their combined efforts could only scratch it. This world must be crazy. Has their memory been altered? Or is there a bug? Their cognition had been shattered. The knife-wielding youth suddenly remembered that night. What Chunhao had said. Chunhao had known all along. My true strength. The one who resolved the grudge-level ruin last time was also Sumo. At this moment, in my mind, the system notification sounded again. Ding! You successfully killed evil-level aberration. LV-31 green-eyed demon snake. Multi-EXP triggered. Experience increased, level increased. Not bad. Gained 1 level to level 11. Open the attribute information. After this level up, all attributes +4. plus 16 free attribute points, all allocated to strength. The panel is as follows. Name Su-Mo, title Heavenly Tyrant, level 11, strength 190, physique 140, agility 121, willpower 121. A warm current of physical enhancement flowed through my body. The feeling of increasing strength fascinated me. I gently clenched my fist, satisfied. Slowly turned my head to look at the fallen ones. Suddenly frowned slightly. These people all looked familiar. Besides Chunhao, there were 3 others. What were their names? I could not remember their names. What a hassle, running into acquaintances even here. I did not deliberately come to save them. It was just that no giant snakes appeared nearby. So I actively looked for them, and happened to see one transforming here. So I rushed over to test my strength. I had not tried a full sprint before. I did not expect the speed and jump to be so exaggerated. One sprint and jump, and I actually flew this far. What surprised me even more was that such a fierce giant snake could not withstand one punch from me. That ruin master on the peak, with all his grandstanding, his summoned big shots are not that impressive either. Chunhao and the others saw me turn and look. Seeing my furrowed brow, they unconsciously swallowed. Only then realizing they were still on the ground, they scrambled to their feet. To be fair, they were all probationary night guards. After the battle, the residual pressure on me, and the indifference that inadvertently flashed in my eyes, still made them uneasy, and they unconsciously felt some awe. One of them forced a smile, and pretended to be natural, joking. Su-Mo, long time no see. Do you remember me? You have not forgotten my name, have you? As soon as he said it, he regretted it. This was too awkward, but I did not respond, and frowned even deeper. The atmosphere became awkward again. In fact, I was also embarrassed. I did not know how to start, frantically searching for his name, but I really did not know them, just not familiar. Fortunately, Chunhao let out a light sigh, and showed a wry smile. Sigh, Su-Mo, what a coincidence. I have been saved by you again, and before he finished, roars came from afar. They turned to look. In the distance, several powerful awakened joined forces, and successfully killed a green-eyed giant snake. I looked up at the peak. That ruin master, calling himself Leviathan, remained unmoved, standing quietly at the height, as if he did not care about the resistance at all. Even though the giant snake died, he did not act again. Perhaps in his eyes, human death was already certain. Everything now was just death throes. My eyes flickered. I had to move, or I would miss out on the aberrations. You guys are busy, I have things to do. With that, I turned and left directly. Seeing this, the knife-wielding youth could not help but speak. Su-Mo, how about we team up and go up the mountain together? Together we might be able to kill the ruin master. At this, everyone's eyes showed anticipation. This was exactly what they wanted. I am so strong. If they could latch on to such a big shot, they would definitely get more materials and war merits. After all, we were all from the same batch of probationary night guards. He would not refuse, right? But my steps did not pause. I turned my head slightly and cast an indifferent glance. I did not want to put it too bluntly. With your strength, you are not qualified to challenge the ruin master. Before he makes his move, you had better use your ruin-breaking stones and leave. Of course, this is just a suggestion. As my voice fell, I stomped my foot. Bang! My whole body shot out like a bullet, instantly blasting away. The high-speed airflow turned into a fierce wind, blinding the others so they could not open their eyes. When they looked up again, my figure had already disappeared, leaving only a spiderweb-like shallow crater at the spot.